Yeah, the thing is, I don't know what power I've got. That's the thing. If I start wrestling with him, I don't know how strong I am. I might do some damage. By accident. Because I don't go about punching people and stuff, so I don't know how hard I can hit. I might really hurt him.
Well, there you have it, folks. Now, let's see him in action.
When I was a kid, my dad said I better can't kick me height. And I said I better can.
Kick your height? What do you mean kick as high as yourself?
I'm not cut out for Kung Fu, I know that much. That shouldn't hurt, should it? Just having a cup of tea.
Let's go shopping. So, I'll just come into a shop, okay? Dring.
Afternoon.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
I want a fish.
What sort of fish do you want? We've got loads.
What sort of fish are there?
Loads. I haven't got time, to be honest. You've come in at a busy time. Have a look and come back to me. And,
I don't know what type of fish is this?
That's a kipper.
Okay. A kipper. What's a kipper?
It's a fish. It's sort of a fishy sort of fish. There's some fish that's more meaty. Tuna. What sort of thing are you after today? Is this for you or for someone else?
This is for me. I'd like to buy a fish, please.
Right, but surely you know what kipper is. Look at it. Look at the fish. Here it's called kipper. Where are you from?
I don't speak English.
I'd just wrap any old shit up and give it you. You'll like this. Tenner. Rip you off. Because I'm busy. And that's what happens in this country. That's what they want to be careful of if they're watching this. If you come into England, don't be ripped off. Rip off. Conned. Taken advantage of.
Done up like a kipper.
Done up like a kipper.
Look at this foreigner. I done him up like a kipper.
This is when English gets complicated because kipper, a lot of English words can mean many things.
Animal rights is a hot topic.
It's a big issue.
What rights should they have? We test drugs on animals, and we're basically saying if they die, they die. We'll learn something from them. People do make distinctions between animals' rights. They know that it's probably more acceptable to kill an ant than
punch a cow.
Yeah, exactly.
I told you, didn't I, about my dad's mate who had a monkey and he had to thump it.
What? Well, there's two things there. One, why did he have a monkey? Two, what sort of discipline is thumping a monkey? What was the monkey doing?
He was annoying his wife a lot and sort of, pinching her arse and stuff like that.
Right,
No,
right.
that's
Wait a
not
minute.
true.
We've
It's
never
not
heard
true.
this before. How have we had all these years
No,
of
I'm sure I
monkeys and
told
we've
you
never
about
heard this
it ages
before?
ago.
Your dad had a mate who had a monkey?
Yeah, I'm sure I told you.
Why did he have a monkey? Just for a laugh?
Well, it was back in the day when people did. They all had like odd sort of pets and
When?
that, didn't they? In like about 68.
Oh,
In
1968,
1968.
when everyone had a monkey.
But he had to thump it. Now the weird thing is,
No, that's weird enough.
Is this is all the story? This is the entire story?
No.
You've got all the information you've got is he had a monkey and he had to thump it?
yeah, my dad told me about it. When he found out that I was into monkeys, he said, "Oh, Benny thumped one." And
Benny thumped one. Oh, my son's into natural history, particularly simian variety. I've got an interesting fact for you, Carl. Sit down. What is it, Peter? Benny thumped one. Brilliant.
But what was interesting is the way that people are thumping other people all the time. No one bats an eyelid. Thump a monkey. People go, "You thumped a monkey."
Yes, they do. They do go, "You thumped a monkey."
So that's what's weird, isn't it?
But this chimp doesn't want to be caged and kept in a fucking council house in
No,
Manchester.
it was quite happy. And if
It
it wants to
wasn't
live like a
happy.
human, I mean, in the 70s, You know, there were all the teabag adverts and all that, and they were loving that.
No, they weren't
people
loving it.
interfere. People go, that's unfair. Now they're in like a cage in a zoo. You go, it was better when I was pushing a piano up a stairs.
They weren't really.
They weren't actual delivery men.
They weren't really sitting down and having a cup of tea.
Well,
It wasn't a documentary. A week in the life of the monkey delivery men.
I love that. Chimps in a zoo now going. Okay, now at least we were free.
Remember when we used to drive a van?
And we're on 58 quid a week.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be kept in a house in Manchester. Cruel to keep a person in a house in Manchester, so it's fucking cruel to keep a monkey.
Ricky gave me my first break in the business by hiring me as his assistant when he worked on a radio station called XFM. Yeah, I'm forever grateful for that. And a number of other reasons. Bought me a sandwich once.
That sounded rude.
No.
Like one of those stars who go, yeah, you gave my first break.
Yeah.
I had to do some things on the casting couch.
Yeah, so that was how I got started.
23 was.
Was I?
What was I? 36 or something, wasn't I?
I can't have been 23.
I think you were. Yeah. Looked like a really gangly adolescent who just grew too quick and no one could do anything.
25.
You weren't.
Well, we know each other about 12
97. When were you born?
74.
What does that mean then?
All right, shut up.
There you go.
Boring.
And my first break probably was working at XFM. I got a job and they said I could have an assistant.
And that
First
was me,
CV.
that was mentioned before.
First CV that came through, I said, yeah, it'll do. Karl was working on XFM also. We worked together on XFM, then we went and did The Office. We came back as conquering heroes. We were big shots. I used to run the desk, too big for that now. They gave us a little minion who worked there. Then he opened his mouth and I realised that he was funnier than anyone I'd ever met before, without even knowing it himself. So,
But you've been quietly squirreling away in the background for years, haven't you?
I've just always got work by knowing people. I've never I've never got a job through an interview. It's always, even at Cordon Bleu, it's because my mum worked at Partners next door. It was like a stationery shop. And
I love the way you say Cordon Bleu, like everyone's heard of this place.
Everyone's going, Cordon Bleu. No one loves the world.
It's like, I think Summerfield bought it. It's a fridge shop. Well, not fridge, like chickens and stuff, frozen foods. And my mum said, I think I can get you in there.
She was connected. She was like the Godfather.
Like the mafia, yeah. I'll get you in Cordon Bleu. How? It's next door, isn't it?
So,
there's a notice in the window. People need it.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Just go along. I said, why? What's the intel? Just they said, need any idiot. I said, I've got one of them. Yeah. Went along there, got sacked, didn't you?
So any advice really to any kind of aspiring people is know people. That's your advice.
Definitely
or what's next door? Where do you live? Where do you live? What do you want to do? Where do you live? Next to a chippy. Should be a fishmonger.
There you are. Good advice.
Growing up, I probably watched sort of bad American shows. I watched all those things like Policewoman and all the cop shows. They weren't bad, actually. Thinking about it, they were quite good. Some of them were really good, like Kojak and Rockford Files, that were great. But I suppose my mecca was American TV and all the American comedies from Laurel and Hardy, Woody Allen, Cheers and Taxi and all those things. So those were my biggest influence, American comedy and drama, probably. My first love was actually probably science and nature programmes. I just love, when I've got BBC Two, I couldn't believe my luck, things like Horizon, and now I watch BBC Four, it's probably my favourite channel.
I watched a lot of comedy, classic comedy, British comedy, Monty Python and Tony Hancock, all that stuff, all the classic 70s stuff, Fawlty Towers. John Cleese grew up in Weston-super-Mare, very near Bristol. He was tall. I thought, there you are, I've got all those things. But then later, I became very hooked on American TV later, when I got older. Never saw Policewoman, though. Sounds good.
Angie Dickinson.
It was a woman who worked for the police.
That was it?
That was the conceit.
That was the hook. You had to have a hook.
Yeah.
All bloke sucks lollies. Bloke with one eye, thinks he doesn't know what he's doing. He does. Fella on a horse, that was McLeod. Ironside, he can't walk. Right, so they had to have a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it taught me.
People think he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's got a perfectly round head. He doesn't know anything. Oh.
What did you used to watch growing up?
I've never been a fan of telly. I'm still not. I don't watch it much. Telly, honestly, the telly at home, it's about that big. I don't know what that is. But it's dead small. I was thinking about getting a bigger one now I've made a few quid. It's like, I don't want to.
Just edit that, and it cuts to him going, I'm thinking about getting a bigger one. Now I've got a few quid. Be a brilliant clip.
It was stuff like flambards.
What's that?
It's like...
I was thinking of flumps. What's that?
no,
That's
no.
that
It was about
period
planes and stuff.
comedy, innit?
It wasn't a comedy, it was
drama.
I didn't even like it.
What was it?
No, it was a drama, I suppose, but my mum watched it, and I used to sit and watch that with her, but it was more the occasion of, she'd always make a big plate of toast and a big pot of tea, and I liked that.
So
and
your
I thought
favourite-
Flambards is on tonight.
Favourite
and I
TV
excited.
show was Tea and Toast, really.
Yeah, it was, yeah, it
Yeah.
was about the thing, yeah, It was like, that's kind of what
What's your
telly's
favourite
about.
TV show? Sofa. Night Off. What's your favourite TV show? Night Off.
So Dallas as well, we had toast that night when that was on. Then Dynasty came out, it was like more toast.
You're
It was just
joking.
toast. I liked toast.
Where did you start eating crumpets? What show sort of made you think of the crumpets?
I started off on pikelets.
Yeah, which is
It's like a kid's version of a crumpet.
it's like a flattened crumpet. You watch that with usually drama in it.
Howard's Way, I got into
The
crumpets.
pikelet.
That was Sunday night,
Yeah.
sort of crumpet.
When would you have a cake? What sort of TV show would you have a cake?
Didn't have cakes
no,
in our house when I
no
was
way,
younger.
no way,
No.
no way.
Swiss roll.
Yeah. Write about what you know, be original, and there's no rush.
See, I'd say do stuff about what you don't know. That's what I'm doing.
Interesting.
Brilliant.
I'd say do it for the awards.
Oh dear.
Octopus. I've never seen anything so weird. Say if I'd come from another planet and everything was lined up in a row and they said, right, we're going to give you a crash course in what's knocking about on this planet. And you go, right, go on then. And you go, this is man, here's woman, here's a dog, here's a cat, here's an octopus, here's a... I go, hang on a minute, what is this? I said to Suzanne, I'm sick of it. She's going, you need to do it when I get a new kitchen. I thought I was going to be seeing The Wonder today, but Ricky and Steve have called up, said forget that. You're going to be spending the afternoon in a little village. You know, travel programme, showing you the world, how others live, little communities and all that. Just looking at this map, it's a dwarf village. It's like this little town that they set up. Dwarves used to get hard time or something. And so they set this up, a place where they live and work. All right. This is it. They've made it for themselves, everything they want. It's made for being a dwarf. It's ideal. And, you know, there is like little blokes in little funny outfits and all that. Where's your knees? Have you got knees? And you do sort of smile, but they're smiling. I think it's all right, isn't it? Well, they're all happy. I mean, they've made this bit. Why not just finish it up and put a door on it? They've done the hard bit. A couple of hinges and a door. You can show me around one of your houses. I haven't been in one of these. I'm the biggest man who's ever been in it. I'd rather be a dwarf than like Steve, who's almost a giant, because the world's not made for a giant. The skill of this, I'm doing a little bit of woodwork. It's amazing. I mean, that's not crap, is it? So if all your work dries up, they're not making another Star Wars, you can't dress up as a little monkey, you've got no money coming in, you wouldn't think about coming here then?
Definitely not.
It's something, when I was looking on the web, found something out.
Go on.
It's a story about a woman who had a baby.
What are you talking about?
What?
A woman who had a baby who was having a baby.
It was no clearer when you repeated it.
There was a woman who had a baby who had a baby. What do you mean?
No, I didn't read any more into it because I just saw that and I thought, that's weird. And then I just was thinking, oh, like, imagine the kid at school, at parents' evening.
Go on.
And it's like, well, your kid's pretty good. Now let's have a look at your work, sort of thing.
But what? Did the child have a baby?
Yeah.
Of course it didn't! Play record! I was listening to the radio in England a few weeks back, Radio 4, quite highbrow. There was a discussion about political correctness. My name came up straight away, right? And there was this woman on there going, oh yeah, well it's not right. Ricky Gervais, he makes jokes about fat people. He wouldn't make jokes about gay people, would he? And being fat is like being gay. What? No, it's not. What? You can't choose your sexuality. As we've established, you choose whether to eat too much or not. You know, with your sexuality, you're born, you grow up, you discover you like same-sex relationships, and that's it. You're gay, okay? For being gay to be the same as being fat, you'd have to be born, be straight, grow up knowing you're straight, but gradually and consciously wean yourself onto cock. Oh. Happy 16th birthday, son. This is Raoul. Suck his cock. Sorry, father? Suck his cock. 16 now, suck his cock. I don't like cock, father. Doesn't like cock. How do you know if you've never tried it? Ah! Suck his cock. I don't... Suck a one cock. Suck... that's not sucking it, that's playing with you. Put it in your mouth. Put it... oh. Look, have a go, you might like it. Oh, it's not so bad, is it? Oh, I fucking love these. If that happened, then being gay would be the same as being fat, but it doesn't, so it's not. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you more than that, Rick. You're going to need some time off just to have a little breather, because I know how hard you work.
And you, mate?
Well, thanks, mate, but I mean, you blinking work hard.
But Carl's been on holiday again, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah, because, Carl, you don't do anything.
And you have weekends off, you take at least 5 or 6 weeks holiday a year, even though you haven't got a job now, you're meant to be doing this, and yet you still go
your whole life's a holiday, basically.
Yeah, why do you need a holiday to, you potter around, your big day last week was going to the cobblers, so... Why did you need a break so much this week?
It's just that, you know, it's good for your brain and that, isn't it? It opens it up a bit.
You are not evidence for that.
Where did you go?
Gran Canaria.
For a week?
Yeah.
Just sitting around?
Well, there isn't much else to do at Gran Canaria. I mean, I don't want to go slagging a place off because every time I seem to talk about somewhere, get into trouble for it. Right. But it's just like a big rock. It's just volcanic, innit?
And you must have looked like a little barnacle on that.
Have you been there before?
Been near it before to another rock, which was just.
Well, what, you had your fingers burned, why did you go back?
Because you think, well, they can't have loads of these islands that are the same, like just a big rock with hotels on, they can't get away with it. So you think,
they
well,
obviously
the next
are getting away with it. But why do you keep going to these places that are rocks? Why don't you investigate first? Ask your travel agent, is this a giant rock?
Because that's what you do, innit? You go and find out yourself. I mean, when Armstrong went to the moon, what was he expecting up there? That's a fact, that's a big rock, and he still went all that way.
I don't know what that point was.
No, so what I'm saying is, though, sometimes...
Tell us about the moon landing. As you started, what do you know about that? You know, because I mean, so far you've given us a lot of insight into the moon landing. So there was Armstrong.
There was Armstrong and that.
Yeah.
There was a fella called Buzz.
Yeah.
And another bloke.
Yeah. Poor bastard.
Yeah, never remembered.
Yeah, go on.
And they went up there, got out. 2 of them did. one of them didn't bother. The one whose name, don't know who he was, didn't even get out to stretch his legs, right? Went all that way. They had a potter about, had a wander, came back again.
Yeah.
So, that's all you need to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in your opinion, pointless?
To me, yeah. But to them, I'm sure they had a good time, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just take the risk, don't you? Go and visit a place, make up your own mind.
And so, what do you make of this place? You enjoy it, Gran Canaria? It was just a big rock, but
I bet the moon was better.
Really?
What did you do?
It was just, it's one of them, it was a big hotel, which is, that's where I made a mistake. It was one of those, like, big, massive places where there's loads of people, and, you go for your dinner.
That describes a hotel.
Yeah.
No,
to me.
You've nailed that.
I've been to a few, that sounds like it.
No, but do you know what I mean, though? There's the nice small ones where it's just enough people, but this is, like, mental. And it was all, it was full of old people, really.
Oh.
I mean, that's probably why it's called Gran Canaria, right? Because there's just old people. Yeah, right. But what I thought I'd start doing is start a diary.
Okay, why?
Just because I sort of had a bit of time on my hands and that. Just thought, write it down, write stuff down.
And do you hope that this one day will become one of the great literary documents like Samuel Pepys' diary?
I haven't heard of that. Is it any good?
You've never heard of Samuel Pepys' diary?
No,
the most famous diary other than probably Anne Frank's.
I've heard of Anne Frank's and that, and I thought if she's sat in a loft, knocking stuff up, not much going on in her life at that point, yet she was still writing it down.
Yeah, whereas
I'm
you've
on
been to Gran
holiday.
Canaria, yeah.
I thought, so there is stuff going on that I can chat about. Start a diary.
Sure.
You started a diary.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Did you keep it up every day?
Yeah, just,
Oh, can I read it, please?
Well, a diary is meant to be sort of...
Please, can I read some out on this podcast? Carl.
Some of it, though, is only relevant to me. It's sort of...
Oh, this is... Please, give me it. Oh, my God.
I mean, this isn't... I haven't just...
Look how big it is!
It's
Oh, my God.
desk diaries.
It's huge. It's about a foot long. And it's Oh, that is amazing. Imagine if Anne Frank had been like that. As she got out... Right. Everyone would have heard it clang down on the desk.
Yeah, but my writing's quite big, isn't it?
Oh, look, give us that.
Do you know about joined up writing? Have you heard about
There's
that?
no point.
Amazing.
Sometimes you can't read it, can you? So it's best
Right, okay.
to look at
look,
ancient times.
oh my God, it starts on the first day. This is wonderful. Going on holiday to Gran Canaria today, woke up to the news that Tony Banks had died. There was a piece on the news about how everyone was shocked. Got me thinking about an invention that was really good. Right, a watch that counted down your life. If it says you've got 3 days left, go to the doctors. Told Suzanne about invention. She said she wouldn't buy one. But she said that about the iPod.
How would this device work, this watch? I mean, how would you know when you were about to die? Is that a concern, again, not for you to worry about, presumably the boffins and the
No, all I was thinking is that Tony Banks fella, he died and everyone was shocked about it. But if you had like a little watch on...
But how does it work? You can't just say, wouldn't it be good? How would this work? Yeah, I imagine you in the patent office got an idea. They go, oh, certainly, Mr. Pilkington, what's your idea? Watch that counting down your life. Oh, how does that work?
Just wear it, just pop it on your wrist.
No, what do you mean, just pop it on your wrist? How does it work? Just pop it on your wrist. Brilliant. You're an idiot.
Well, it's interesting that he goes on. The flight to Gran Canaria was a bit bumpy. I thought about the clock that counts down your life again, and I wondered if it would know if you were going to die in a disaster. No, he's querying his own life.
He's wondering if he would know. He's invented this.
And now he's playing his job. A fella on the plane was reading Koi Mag. It was a fishing magazine. I glanced over and noticed he was reading the Pond of the Month article. Don't think they could make it into a weekly magazine. Well, to be fair to you, because I remember seeing a guy on the train once reading Carp Monthly, a magazine dedicated entirely to carp, and it had Carp of the Month. And I just thought, once you're like 3 months in, the editor must be stressing, have we got any more carp? Have we got a carp that's actually done anything?
I reckon if they used the same one twice, there wouldn't be many complaints.
No one would be noticing.
No, that's the carp they used 2 years ago.
There was a really fat bloke on the plane. He was playing on his PSP. While I waited to go to the toilet, I looked at what game he was playing. It was darts. He's that fat and lazy, he can't even face playing a more active game on a games console. Me and Suzanne got off the coach along with a couple of old people. One of them was in a wheelchair. I don't think it was wise of them to come to a volcanic island with a wheelchair. Everywhere's pretty rough paving and slopey. Guess I'll keep an eye on it as the weeks go on. Day 2 in Gran Canaria.
Brilliant. We're only at day 2.
The hotel's a bit odd. I've never seen as many cross-eyed people in one location.
Enough, innit?
That's amazing.
Well, you may have to let me read on a bit more.
No, this is amazing.
Well, come back to
This
it
is
later,
a brilliant diary. This might be the best diary ever written. Oh.
While sat listening to the Kinks on my iPod, I wondered if everybody thinks in their accent. I know I do. What's this? What are you talking about?
Just that, you know, when I've been sat there lying on the lounger, right, and I was thinking about stuff.
How do you know you think in your accent? Tell me a typical thought.
Because what I mean is, say if I was like, if I saw something, right, do you know how I say, like, oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
No, but
that was
I don't have
said.
to. But when you think, I don't think the sentence is like I'm saying it. It's just a thought. The thought appears. It's conceptual and it's already there. It's not like I go, Rick, what? Just looking at that fellow over there, were you? Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was thinking it was a bit weird. Oh, so was I. I don't think out whole sentences.
Whereas you have Carl, stop listening to the Kinks for a minute. Look over there. More cross-eyed people.
No, well that's
Is that how your mind works?
In a way, yeah. And
Brilliant.
that's when because I
That
thought
explains a lot.
It's great that he has to think that whole sentences.
because I thought that's weird, isn't it? Like I didn't think that's weird, isn't it? And I thought I actually think in my accent. And then I thought, does Stephen Hawking, does he when he's doing his maths and that? Is he? I don't know where he's from, so I don't know what his accent would be like.
I think he's from Kent or Cambridge or Oxford.
Right. So
you think he might think in his
voice, in that voice,
the
box
computerised
thing.
voice?
Just wondered.
Had lunch inside today due to shite weather. Sat next to an old fella. Old men's ears and noses carry on growing as they get older. Suzanne noticed his fingers were fat too. Maybe they continue to grow. Suzanne didn't laugh when I said her arse had the same problem. Day 3, cloudy start to the day. Had pie and chips in a cafe. Had a bit of an argument with Suzanne because I thought it was daft that we were paying for food when we were on an all-inclusive holiday. Changed my mind when I saw they sold pie, though. The cafe was called Tattoos. The fellow who owned it didn't have any tattoos. But we never saw his wife.
Oh, brilliant.
Had a drink in a bar. Everyone sat and watched one of the local cats lick its bollocks.
It's the greatest holiday in the world. That's the entertainment in that town.
Went back to the hotel and had a sleep before tea. I love the fact you're moaning about old people, but you're just as bad.
You've done nothing so far.
He's done nothing, he's got me hip.
Oh, God.
Woke up to news about ducks being badly treated. There was a really ugly one with bent legs.
I'm gonna die. Why does he write this down? Oh, God.
Oh, there is a fat bloke from Bolton who is in the pool as I write this. He's got a big tattoo on his back, but I can't work out what it is. ... He just got out of the pool and burped. You just felt like you had to keep us abreast of that.
Everything's in the diary. I've just seen it get to the point where you're going, breathed in,
Yeah.
breathed out again.
There was a big fat fella in the sea who kept his t-shirt on. If you're big and fat, is there more chance of you getting burnt because there's more of you on show? I asked Suzanne and she said she didn't know in that sort of not listening kind of way. I wanted to hang about to see if the fat bloke was going to get in the kayak, but Suzanne said we had to head back. Just let him wait in to see if he's going to capsize. We go home today, so we got up early to get the last bit of cloud.
No, it's just that it wasn't. It's not that sunny all the time. I mean, I was sat in weather that if it was like that here, there's no way I'd be sat in the garden. But because you're on holiday, it's like, well, we got to sit in it. Put your coat on.
So are you going to continue to write this diary? Every single day?
It's amazing. Keep this diary up. It's amazing.
No, I will keep it up, because what I find as well is, I think earlier on, before I went away, I think I did learn something, and because I wrote it down, I remembered it a bit better. So...
What was that?
I just was thinking then, I forgot it now, but but I remembered looking back at it and not having to read it all, because I remembered the end of it before I read it, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, if you've enjoyed the diary of Karl Pilkington. More next week, I hope. Another week's worth. That's amazing. I'm going to try and get that published. We'll put the odd page up on the web. Go to rickygervais.com. Don't forget to register there as well, so we can email you and let you know what's happening. Brilliant.
Right, old woman, about 70 years old.
Yeah.
She's normally fit and healthy and stuff. Nothing wrong with her. She's having a good life. And one day she goes for a check to the doctors, just to check herself out. 'Cause she's getting on a bit.
Yeah.
Says take your clothes off and that. So she does, and checks her out. Says yeah, you're looking good. You're looking good. Turn round. He said, oh God. He says you got a tumour on your buttock. Right. So she goes, oh. What can you do anything to sort it out? So they go, yeah. We could book you in for an operation. It's best if we remove this. Books are in for an operation. Operation day comes. Strip her down and that. They're all stood round, the doctors. Start to operate. It only turns out it's a pork chop that she sat on 5 years earlier, and it had stuck to her buttock.
Right, Karl.
I can forward you.
I'm not. Right.
No, listen. Serious.
Right, okay, Karl. I'm telling you now. I'm leaving. I'm never doing this show again.
No, I'm serious. Honestly.
You're talking. I've never had such. You are. Play a record. Play a record.
I couldn't believe it.
What do you mean you can't believe it? Stop the record. Stop the record. Stop the record. Right. Okay. Right. What do you mean you couldn't believe it?
No, when I read it, I said I've got to tell Ricky
This
that.
woman had a pork chop stuck to her arse for 5 years. You mental case. Of course she didn't.
Do a typical day in the life of Karl Pilkington.
So, for my first question is, what time does Suzanne have to wake up? Does that annoy you? Does she have to get up earlier than you?
Because she's got a proper job.
The alarm goes off.
What time?
About 7.
That seems early.
Yeah, but I'm used to it now.
Okay.
At the
Now, you
moment,
spring out of bed, make her a cup of tea, do you?
no.
Right.
I let her get up, mess about.
By mess about, you mean get ready for work?
Yeah.
Right.
She's not being quiet, so I'm awake now. Right.
What do you mean she's not being quiet?
Well, she's just banging about, like I say, heavy-handed. I don't know how she does it. It's just doors and stuff. Everything seems like the Hulk's in the house. Bounding about. Just don't be heavy-handed with it. When even like pulling the curtains shut and stuff, because it's not her who has to fix it. Do you know what I mean? When she's yanking at them and pulling them open, it's like just pull them like that. I've put them on a nice rail. Just pull them slowly like that.
Right.
It's things like that. I think the problem is most of the day I'm on my own.
Right.
Right? I'm doing DIY at home. I'm quite happy. No one's there annoying me.
Right.
I go for my lunch later than everyone else, so I don't have to see people.
He's like Quasimodo, isn't he? He's like coming down when everyone else is not there.
When no one's around. Suzanne!
No, but then that's the problem. Suzanne then comes home. She's been sort of with people, so she comes in with loads of energy, and I'm going, just slow down. Stop going on. Then she's breaking stuff, and that's probably the last thing.
She's breaking.
She's heavy-handed with all the stuff I've been fixing. She broke the shutters. What else did she break?
Well, you could have done a good job.
I did do a good
The
job.
shutters? Where do you live? In the Old West?
What do you mean the shutters?
Some shutters on a window. She heavy-handed with them.
I don't want them to see me. What a mum.
So what else has she broken?
She's always breaking stuff. The light switch outside. Heavy-handed. She forces things. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter how hard you hit it or how hard you pull it. Just tell me if it doesn't work and I'll sort it. That's what I do these days. I'm like a caretaker to Suzanne's house. I'm wandering around and replacing stuff that she's fucked up.
Karl, it's what we've all been waiting for. Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news.
Right, well, this one sent in from Sam in New York, right? And it's about a fire that happened, right? In a really, do you know, like in New York, they have loads of big buildings, don't they?
Yeah.
Right, really, really tall ones and
Skyscrapers.
stuff. Yeah. And there was a fire in one of them, right? So they did as expected. They called up, fire brigade and that. They turned up, right? Fire engine parked up. It's like, right, where's the fire? And they said, oh, it's on like floor 100 or whatever. And they said, oh no, we've brought the fire engine with the short ladders.
Stupid mistake, but go on.
Right. So anyway, so they said, well, how are we going to get up there?
Yeah. We can't.
But they've only brought the short ladders.
No, we can't. Let's go home. Okay, that was monkey news.
So they said, well, there's a lot of, like, grippage.
Because they made up words. The firemen, the NYPD firemen.
There's a lot of grippage
On the side of the building and stuff. So anyway, they said, why don't we just go and get a monkey, right? So they got a monkey.
That's a bit of a jump.
Is
They
that
just-
policy now in the New York Fire Department?
Well, you've got to think quick, haven't you? At the end of the day, if people are up there, you don't start querying if it works or not. You try everything that you can to help someone out, right?
That's the first thing I thought of. Was it a monkey?
So it was quicker for them to go and get a monkey than to go back and get the long ladders.
Why don't they get
fair enough.
Why don't they get Spider-Man?
Yeah, call Spider-Man.
Yeah, call Spider-Man.
So anyway, so they got a monkey down there, and they said, right,
Where did they get it from?
We don't know, from the local zoo or something.
Oh, yeah.
So they said, look, let's, we've got to remember there could be someone up there,
Right.
and it'll shock them a bit if a monkey comes in, right?
Yeah.
So they said,
Yeah, I don't think they'd care.
Get it
If their building's on fire, they're not going to go, oh, that's weird, there's a monkey at the window. They'll be screaming, save me! Oh, there's a monkey.
so,
Where are
anyway,
you from then?
so they said, right, we'll just get it a little small uniform and that, the smallest you've got.
But, whoa, hold on though. Actually, where are you going to get that? I'm going back to the station. We'll get the long ladders while you're there.
No time.
No time. No, I bought the small uniform. I just didn't bring the long ladders. You're an idiot.
So anyway, it goes up there. It's got all the kit on and what. It's got its little adder on and all that. It grabs. There was like a little person up there. Manages to grab that.
Not
give it a little.
Who was up there then?
It was just
Someone that was just the right size for a monkey to be able to rescue, which is handy. Because if it had been anyone else, like a larger person or a family, we'd all been screwed.
No, I don't know about the size of it, but it's just the story saying how like it was quite a big monkey, and that it was good at breaking down doors.
Oh yeah.
It was good at climbing into small spaces and stuff like that. Anyway,
But
it
it's big enough to carry a fully grown man, but small enough to climb through a cat flap.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
which is handy.
So anyway, it managed to. Get
Did it have the boots
person.
on as well?
It got the person and everything, and now it says it's sort of it's on call if they ever need it again. So.
Sure, and if they ever get anywhere again and they've forgotten the long ladders, but there's plenty of grippage, they just call for Coco.
So that's this week's monkey news.
Bollocks. Well, it's that time again. It's the feature that the world is saying could rival monkey news one day. Ready?
Oh, what's he written today?
Well, Carl's diary. You didn't actually explain what it was. Sunday, got up, sunny day, so went for a walk in the park. There was a bloke walking down the street who was whistling some kind of annoying tune. He seemed quite happy with himself. Do people only whistle when they're happy? I don't whistle very much.
It's a good point. Whistling is so inane to me. But yeah, it's sort of like going, I'm content. It really is that thing that if they go, you go, well, Mr. Mellows, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Not only has your wife died, but you've lost the house. Thanks, Doctor.
Wouldn't happen. Would it?
No,
Doesn't
you
seem
don't
right, does
whistle
it?
when
Yeah.
you're sad. The other place you hear it, of course, is changing rooms. And that's men going, I'm whistling, so I'm not looking at your cock. How could I be? I'm concentrating on whistling.
The lake was frozen over where I was walking. The ducks looked worried. They were sat on the edge of the lake waiting for it to melt. Were they, Carl?
Yeah, we just sat there looking, sort of going, oh, what's going on? I don't know. How long is a duck's memory? Because I wondered whether they're going, this doesn't seem right, but I don't know why.
I asked Suzanne why ducks don't use their wings much. They seem to walk and swim more and don't bother using their wings. Suzanne said she had to call her mum and dad, so I never got an answer.
The old excuse. Yeah. Suzanne, oh, I can't talk now, Carl.
Gotta phone my mum. There was a marathon-type run going on in the park. It reminded me of the time when we were moving flat. It was the day of the London Marathon. Me and Suzanne were walking down the middle of the road, taking some stuff to our new flat. I was carrying a lamp and a kitchen bin. People were clapping me, thinking I was doing some kind of fun run.
Why were you walking on the same route?
Because it was when we lived on the Docklands.
Oh, brilliant.
There was no other route. The flat was just about 100 yards down the road.
They're going, look at the bloke with the bald wig. He's carrying a lamp and a bin.
Took a bag of old clothes to Oxfam.
It was just old T-shirts and a couple of jumpers with holes in it. I don't think anyone will buy them, but the Ox family's closer to the flat than the wheelie bin is. On the tube on the way back home, saw an advert for a book about a woman who works in a funeral home. She went into work one day, she goes to work on a body, she takes the sheet off of one of the bodies, and it looks exactly like her. This is called a doppelganger.
What's a doppelganger to you?
It's the thing I read about him ages ago where someone was walking down the street.
Yeah, and he sees someone who looked a bit like him.
And no, this was weirder than that.
Go on.
He remembers, like, going down that street as a kid on his bike, whistling.
Yeah.
And then he's walking down the street, going to get some milk or whatever from the shop. Little bike comes whizzing past. He hears the whistling, he goes, that's weird. Looks at it was him when he was a kid. So it's like a time...
Shit. What do you mean it was him as a kid?
This is like a different form of doppelganger. It's just...
Well, it's impossible, it's rubbish.
Some sort of time thing, isn't it?
No, it's not even that's impossible, so don't
It's
worry
just some
about
kind
it.
of time thing, Rick. No.
Yeah, it's something you read again on the internet, or it was a short story, or something someone told you.
On my walk back from the tube, I saw a jogger who was pushing a pram at the same time. The kid looked terrified. Got my science book out. It said that the static you get on the telly when a channel isn't tuned in properly is radiation that is still knocking about from when the Big Bang happened. I thought about the Big Bang and wondered if it was really a Big Bang, or did it just sound louder as there was no other noise to drown it out.
Good point, isn't it?
Karl's diary, Rick, never ceases to amaze.
Oh, well, it's that time now. Yeah? It's the big one.
Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news!
Right, there was this...
Monkey?
This fella, right, who he had a problem with his eyes, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to the doctors and he goes, I've got a problem with my eyes. And he goes, yeah, they're bad then, right? He goes, it was in America, you know, like how you have to pay for medical stuff and all that.
Mm.
And the doctor said, oh, if I fix them, it's going to be like 10 grand, right?
Mm.
It's like, but I haven't got the money, doctor. He goes, well, I can't help you then. You know, there's a lot of people with bad eyes like them. Can't do anything for you. So he goes, oh, it's getting worse. Can't do anything.
God.
So anyway, so he goes home.
Is that the price of human eyes, is it?
So he goes home, he's looking in the paper, right? And he sort of sees in the adverts at the back. And there's a little advert there saying cheap doctors, right?
No, bollocks.
Oh, no.
No.
So he's thinking, oh, maybe that's what I need, right? So he calls them up. Woman's there. She's like, wait, what can I do? He goes, I've got bad eyes and that. She says, oh, come in tomorrow, we'll sort them out. She's like, brilliant, I'll see you then. Right? So he goes down there and he says, right, you know, I can hardly see. My eyes have got in really bad state and what have you.
Right.
Need to have them sorted out. I don't know what you do. Whatever you do,
Right.
I need
Now,
doing.
his eyes are so bad, can he see the doctors? He can...
Not really,
Can't
sort
really-
of
he's
squinting
squinting.
and that. But, you know, so he's like, do I need to see the doctor to, you know, have a word and tell him what problems? She's like, no, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
just,
it.
No, I'd be comfortable if it's a...
just you know, just let me inject you and we'll knock you out and we'll get on with it. And it's
on,
like,
get the
well,
doctor in.
Can I just tell you something about chimps as well, just before you continue?
Go on.
You know, they don't have opposable thumbs.
Now,
which is
why
what-
are opposable thumbs useful, Rick?
Well, to grip something, to do anything like, you know, even simple stuff like writing, so let alone surgery. So without an
But
opposable
can I just check now?
Go on.
So if I was a doctor and I was doing any form of difficult surgery, would I need opposable thumbs?
You'd need opposable thumbs
To be a doctor,
And
I
without
think.
you couldn't do anything. You couldn't.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Because the opposable thumb allowed something in our evolution called the precision grip.
Right.
So without that, you couldn't do anything.
I'm just glad they've got that cleared up, thanks.
So anyway, so he's had the injection, he's nodding off and what have you, right? His eyes are sort of closing and that, he hears the door open, he sort of just sees this little fella coming in, he's like, hello, doctor. And he's trying to, like, make a chat with it.
Sure.
But, like, he's just nodding off. No, just...
Oh,
he
he's never
or she,
called a
was
doctor.
it he or she?
These people have done 7 years medical
Deeply
training.
respected people.
How could you call it it?
So anyway, he thought, oh, it's weird he didn't answer, but, you know, doctors can be quite moody, you know, they're highly intelligent, they don't need...
Especially little hairy ones.
Well, just idle chit-chat. There's no room for that, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm here
Yeah,
to do a job.
yeah, but you know, if I'm going in to have my eyes done, I want a little bit of idle chimp chat.
So anyway, time passes, right? He sort of wakes up and he opens his eyes, right? And it's brilliant. He can't believe it.
Eyes are perfect?
He's had the op. He can't believe the sight. He's like, nurse, right? And the nurse comes in because I can't believe it. This is brilliant. I've never had this
such good sight. Do you know what I mean? Even when I was a baby,
Yeah.
and my eyes were new,
Yeah.
I didn't see this good.
Great.
So she's like, well, you know, that's
You realise the nurse is a panda.
that's what we do, right? So he said, right, so can I just see the doctor and just say thanks and that? She's like, well, to be honest, you know, he's specialised in what he does. There's a lot of
What
work.
a load of bollocks this is getting.
Please.
Where did you get this from?
No, come on, let's hear the end of the news.
There's a lot of like operations he's got to do.
Yeah.
So you know, leave him to it. He's just having a kip. You know, I'll let him know that you were grateful. You know, pay us a check. Off you go. Go and enjoy looking at stuff.
Yeah.
So he said, no, just what's wrong with that? I just want to see that. She's like,
that's
no,
fine.
leave it. Just leave.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it. If
And
he's
he's like, yeah, but I can't. You know, I want to thank him. So he's done such a good thing for me. So they're getting into a bit of an argument and what have you, and the voices are raising, right? Door opens.
Going to wake the doctor up.
Well, that's what they did. They woke it up, right?
They woke
So-
it up.
So the door opens, right? Little monkey comes out, and he's like, "What's going on here? It's a hospital. Why is a monkey knocking about?"
Yeah.
So the woman said, "Well, what do you mean? He's the doctor." Right? So he's like, "You are having a laugh, aren't you?" She goes, "Look, don't complain. Your eyes are sorted.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor's done it. What's the problem?" He said, "Well, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have come here." She said, "Well, what do you mean you didn't know that?" She said, "The advert in the paper you read, it's like chimp doctors."
That is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard. That really is the worst.
What? And because his eyes were so bad, he thought it said cheap doctors.
He saw the advert and it said chimp doctors, but because his eyes were bad, he just saw it.
What journal is this in?
It was years ago, because it sort of says how the monkey sort of carried on working for a few years. He couldn't do anything
Then
about
just
it. He had to
retired to
leave
play
it.
golf.
It's absolute bollocks. There's no way. I mean, it's not even worth talking about. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's the most ridiculous monkey news you've ever heard, and that's saying something.
Chimp doctors, cheap. It's easy mistake.
Seriously, what about this?
We're not going to sort that out today.
Idiot abroad. Fool's gold. I give you $1 million to spend, and you've got 1 year to make $2 million.
I've got to double $1 million.
Yeah. You can gamble, you can put it all on a horse, or you can put a little bit on a horse. You go to Dragon's Den. You go, look, I've got an idea. Clippable mug. What about the tie with, like, you can carry scissors in and stuff?
That's already out there.
Is it? What was the first thing you do with that? If I said you've got a year to make 1 million, and you've got this million.
Just do loads of stuff.
Go on then, what's the first thought, what you do?
Antiques and buy antiques, flog them on, art.
Right.
Or buy a house in Bulgaria.
What do you know about
Whoa. You're going to buy a house in Bulgaria. That's your first thought. How much is the house in Bulgaria?
100 grand.
Right, how much do you want to sell it for?
I'm going to sell it for 200. I'm going to do it up.
You're going to double your money on a house within a year.
Easy.
You've got to make 130.
No, I'm spinning plates here. This is
Go on, what else
I'm
you
doing.
got?
So you've got to keep flying to Bulgaria to check on the
I've got the local builders on it.
Right. In Bulgaria?
Yeah, plate spinning.
Right.
Antiques on the go. I'm buying
What's the
scratch
antiques?
cards.
You're buying scratch cards?
I buy a load of scratch
How
cards.
many?
5,000 scratch cards.
Right.
I'd have some kids doing that. I'd say, right, you can have a $5.
You're giving it to...
I haven't got time. I'm giving it them to do.
This is the worst idea I've ever heard.
How
That
long have I got to
my
double it?
million's gone, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, it hasn't.
I mean,
It hasn't. If you've got money, you make money. That's a fact.
Where is Bulgaria?
It's somewhere. I know Bulgaria is good for property. I've seen a lot of property programs.
Do you
That's
mean
what I do. I just
Belgravia?
watch. No. There's a lot of things that you can do with property, antiques. I'm
What
buying
else?
classic cars and doing them up.
So you're doubling your money on a classic car in a year?
Yeah, but I've made stuff. I've made inventions.
What have you
I
done?
do the Dragon's Den. Like you say, the clipable mat idea. Like, you have your cup there, but look at that saucer. Every time I have a little bit of tea, I'm talking to you, I've got to go like that. I've got to look exactly where I'm putting it again.
Right.
The clipable mat is stuck on. It's attached to it at all times.
That's
I'm talking
ridiculous.
to you. How's it going? And if I want, I don't have to put it down there, I can put it down there. I'm not limited as to the surface that I can put it on. It's attached. It's washerproof. Dishwasher proof. It's an idea.
I'm out.
This is good. Cools you down. That's going to give you a headache, not get rid of one. Look how complicated it is just for a toilet. You have the skill of Bill Gates. Just have a shit. You can't do any of that. Can't do that stuff. But it's a robot. It's a crisp picker-upper. If you want some crisp but you don't want to get crisps on your hands, you use a crisp picker-upper.
I like the fact that you've got a bit of a rebellious streak in you sometimes. You go off-road. And I called you when you were in Japan, and you dropped this bombshell that you've finally decided the one thing you want to do before you die. And that was to invent something. And you said it's because you wanted to leave a legacy, which I thought was brilliant.
Well, just because you're dead longer than you're alive, aren't you?
Okay.
I'm coming up with stuff all the time. That's why I think this is my strength that hasn't been used yet. I can't do this sort of thing, really, this sort of job of being on the telly. Look at Dyson, it's only a vacuum cleaner, yet he's up there with Einstein and everything, he's well rated, just for a vac. And I reckon I can come up with something better than that. It doesn't have to be a cure for cancer, I'm not going to come up with that. All I can do is come up with something that I needed at the time and that I think other people will go, do you know what, that's a bloody good invention.
So something that benefits mankind?
Yes.
OK.
He pitched me the idea over the phone, and I said, I'm out.
OK, well, pitch it to me now, then.
Right. In Japan, they don't have these...
You mean they don't have...
chairs.
They don't have chairs?
Yeah, of course they have chairs.
You try finding one. Sit on the floor all the time. When you go in a restaurant, you sit down cross-legged. Get a flat arse and your legs ache.
Yep.
Right?
So you've invented what?
It's the Pilko pump pant.
I'm sorry, the Pilko pump pant?
It's a pair of pants with a cushion built in the arse. The inflatable pant stops your arse from getting wet. For men or women. Do you know the thing you put on your neck when you're on long flights?
Yeah.
I've used that. That isn't how the finished thing would look when I make it. You know, this is a prototype. Pilko pant.
Excellent.
I sold some on a shopping channel. You're slagging them off, you're saying I'm out. Watch this.
But this is the lovely man I was talking about. It is our lovely Karl to bring you some trousers.
All right, how's it going?
Hello.
Good one, good one. Morning, everyone. Hope you're well. It's the pants we're selling today. Look at that. Not bad, that, is it? You've come on the telly to flog me a pair of pants. We know about pants. We've seen pants before. You haven't, though, have you? You haven't seen these pants. It's that bit there, that's the seller. That's what we're here for, that's what we're talking about. It's the Pilko pump pant. The way it works is you've got a big zip, a good quality zip. Look at that. Doesn't stick, it's a quality zip. Quality zip, all right? Open it. There it is. There's the cushion. You might have one of these already. Shove it in there. You know you're going to be sat down for a while. You're waiting for that order of the sofa. You're waiting at the bus stop. You haven't got a seat because the queue's big. The buses are delayed. Where you're going to sit. But the beauty is you can sit where you want. Sit on concrete. Sit on the road. Not on the road. That's dangerous. Sit on the pavement. Sit on grass. How good is that? And there's only 15 pairs available. 15 pairs in the whole world. Do you want to be one of the 15?
Still 15 left.
To have the Pilko pump pant.
Look at him. Look at him in them.
There you go.
It's terrible.
Show you how easy it is again.
It looks like some sort of medical procedure, doesn't it?
That's what people would think if they saw you walking in.
They think that you think you've had your arse removed.
Get rid of that. Look at that for a pocket. Look at that. Like I say, we're carrying more and more stuff around with us.
Think of carrying stuff in that.
Your arse rattling around with stuff, mobile phones, football,
laptops, iPads, all that lot.
Fruit.
Look at that. Look at the size of that.
Who's
pocket.
putting a laptop in their arse?
Bread. You nip out to the shop.
Milk, loaf,
you
bread.
don't buy a carrier bag. They're charging you 5 pence a bag at the moment at the supermarket.
Yeah.
No, I'm not buying a bag. You just turn round at the cash point, stick your milk in there, stick your bread in there, off you go. A big, big pocket. You've got this. Health and safety these days. You've got that in there. You like a walk. Maybe buy some for your young kid. You're walking by the canal. He falls in. Is he a good swimmer? I don't know. You tell me. But if he falls in, he's got something to keep him buoyant.
Upside down, like that. He's like that. He's drowning.
Like it might be a
I'm
just saying the possibility that it could help you out if you fall in a canal, a lake, a river. Anything else? Anything else goes. Hang on, let's see how the orders are going. Have we had anyone calling in yet? 2 people on the phone. What do they want? Do they want to talk to me, or is that just... They've gone. We've sold them. Job done. Brilliant. Cheers for that, everyone. These are how they look in real life.
This is the Pilky pump pant.
Pilko pump pant.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it looks ridiculous. It does look ridiculous.
So does most fashion these days.
Okay, no, good, yeah, no, yeah, if it was, yeah, no, you're right, yeah, it's all
Sit
arbitrary,
down.
yeah.
Sit, why are you sitting
Well, here's the chair, you don't need a chair. That's doubled up, you must be too comfortable. Sit on the floor.
All right.
Sit on the floor there, because that would be...
And I suppose particularly useful if you've had a finger up the arse.
Right, there you go. So,
Right.
yeah,
Dead comfy.
yeah.
Really comfy.
Carl, can you go and bring me my sort of bread and milk and stuff that
Have you got 5 pence for a carry bag?
I haven't, no.
Well, I haven't. Hang on, don't worry about that. See you in a minute. What did you want? Bread and milk?
Some groceries, yeah.
Look, imagine walking down the street wearing that.
Absolutely ridiculous. Carl, it looks fucking ridiculous.
He doesn't know.
It does. It looks
like that.
No one will walk down the street like that.
Hang on.
Hold on, Carl. I bought you
No, look.
Carl.
There's no restrictions.
I've bought you a couple of cups and saucers. Yeah. Can you take? I bought you these for you.
Got a bag?
I haven't got a bag. No, just pop them in there.
Pop them in.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah, just. Oh, well, can you?
shove them in.
Yeah, just put them in there. There you go. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so good. Let's safe for that. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Go.
Run for the bus, mate.
Quick! Run! Quick! Suzanne's at home. Oh, here comes Carl.
Here comes Carl with our new crockery.
Honestly, that isn't pulling me down or anything. That is fine.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
No, well, you'd bubble wrap them normally, wouldn't you?
God!
Unbelievable.
Right, look at it like this.
Jesus.
Look, I see it all the time now.
Go on.
You go, where are you going to someone? And they go, I'm going to Dorset.
Aye.
Oh, aye, what road are you taking? Don't know, just pop on the sat-nav. Now, that's a start, isn't it?
Okay. Let's act that out with me, okay? I'm going away for the weekend, Carl.
Are you?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Dorset.
Oh, yeah. Are you getting there?
Car.
Oh, right, yeah, well, which way are you going?
Don't know. Why do you want to know?
Oh, just making a friendly chat. Just, you know, I'm interested in geography. Which way are you going?
Well, I don't know really. I've got a sat nav in my car, and I'm getting there. And what do you mean? What?
Bit easy, isn't it?
Well, I'm not a pigeon. I don't.
I mean, you got an A to Z.
Well, yeah, but it's on a computer. The A to Z. What's the difference between looking at an A to Z and?
It's a bit lazy, though.
Not really. No. Why? Why is it any different that I've got it computerized so I can go along? A to Z's a bit dangerous, isn't it? It's a bit. Don't go to A to Z when you're driving along.
Clive, who are you talking to? Because we need to hit the road. We need to get going.
Well, it's this fucking idiot who wants to know what road I'm taking, which is a fucking boring thing to ask anyway.
Sorry, who is this twat? Because we really got to get going.
He's a fucking dickhead. I think he's an A to Z salesman by the door. I mean,
just tell him we're using the sat nav because it's the quickest, most efficient way to do it.
It's the quickest, most efficient way of doing it.
No, but look what's happened.
Who the fuck are you?
Would Columbus found America if he had a sat nav?
Yes!
No, he wouldn't.
He'd have put in America and he would have taken it to
He wouldn't.
America.
He only found it because he got lost. Now, if everybody just goes...
Hold on. How would an undiscovered country be on a sat-nav?
No.
Go on.
But I just
What's
mean...
the difference between the sat-nav and the map in that regard?
Because I've found some lovely little cafes on roads I've never been on.
And I've instantly gone from finding a continent to a little cafe.
I love that.
Little greasy spoon.
I am off to discover the unknown world. Where are you going? Well, I don't know yet. It's the unknown world. What are you taking? Just a boat. Oh, lazy swim, you cunt. I love the fact that he's so Luddite now, he's annoyed at the sat-nav. I mean, you'd have probably given Columbus a hard time. Oh, got a compass. Don't you know where north is, you twat?
I just think there's something in being lost. I never feel lost. I just think, I've had a diversion. Because you find new things. I'm forever going down...
Suzanne's asking the French peasant where the...
I just think, Columbus...
All right, what's the most interesting thing you found when lost?
Like I say, I found a shop that was like a fancy dress shop.
Amazing.
Do you need fancy dress stuff?
Dressed
You
up
never
as
go
Columbus,
out.
went and bought a sat-nav, went to Dorset for the weekend.
You never go out. Why do you need a fancy dress shop? That sounds like the one thing you would hate is fancy dress.
Yeah, but I like looking at the they have like a space helmet in there.
Right, so you found a fancy dress shop. Where are you supposed to be going that you had time to get sidetracked and go in a...
I think I was going to a meeting.
Amazing, that's the last time!
You want to get lost?
You don't want to get lost, do
No,
you?
because I always give myself loads of time because I get lost a lot. I always give myself...
Get a sat-nav!
No, I'm just saying, that's how you find little treats along the way, and next time you pass it, or next time someone says, do you know where the fancy dress shop is? You go, yeah, I do.
You go, I have no idea because I was lost. I didn't know where it was.
No, normally I
Oh, well,
learn.
I'm not going to tell you, lazy cunt. Have you got an A to Z? Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, find it yourself, you lazy twat.
What would you do, right? If you run a business, right, your business could go under, right? It snows a bit. You got 10 employees. You're paying them well, and they go, I can't come in today, Carl. A bit icy. I'll do it, okay? Right, they're snowed in, right? You're running the business. What are you running?
It's a let's not. I'm not going to big myself up. It's just it's a factory. It's U-bends. U-bends. U-bends for
toilet. So you run a okay. So plumbing. You pay them all right, don't you?
I'd say most of them are on above average.
So you're there. What time do you get in?
About 9:15.
9:15, waiting for them to come in at 9, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, right, it's snowing. It's a bit snowy, you got there. It took you a bit while. You'd set off early, did you? Or?
Gave myself a bit more time because I had to put the heating on the car.
Okay, ring, ring. Ring, ring.
Hello, KP Plumbing.
Oh, is that Miss Pilkington?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Who's that?
Oh, it's Sheila. Listen.
Sheila, shouldn't you be here by now?
Yeah, no, I was going to set off.
Well, we'll set off now. Stop wasting time. We've got a big order on.
No, I know.
We're all on a bonus here if we get this done. I'll see you in 10 minutes, shall I?
I can't make it.
What?
I can't make it.
Why not?
The car won't start and it's slippy on the drive. I just can't get out.
Get the transport. I'll see you in... I'll give you 20 minutes, all right? Don't worry about it. Thanks for calling. I'll see you in a bit.
I'm also scared of the ice. I'm scared of the ice. I'm not gonna come in today. It's dangerous.
So what are you going to do?
Well, I'm gonna wait until the ice and snow goes away and then I'm gonna come in.
But they're predicting it's going to be about 2 weeks before they clear all this.
I can't really travel in this. It's a bit dangerous.
Well, I'll tell you what. You stay at home. I'll replace you. Because I need someone to come in with
a big firing me because I can't get into work with this.
Well, I got into work, Sheila.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you don't live with me, do you? If you did live with me, then you'd probably see
it was bad where I was as well. I'm here.
Do you know how bad it is here? When you come round and have a look how bad it is here, you drive my... Tell you what, you come round and drive my fucking car because I'm snowed in, you fucking calling me a cunt. And I'll tell you, if you fire me, I'll tell you to drive you, you bald-headed wanker.
Right, you're fired anyway for that.
You're in fucking trouble then.
Right then, see ya. Right, and then she's done with. She's weak anyway.
Ring, ring. Ring, ring.
KP Plumbing.
Hiya, is that, Miss Pilkington?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Hi, it's Bob here.
Bob.
Yeah, bit of trouble, in my area, it's absolutely snowing, it's possible, no one's getting out. I live near Sheila,
Bob, listen, Sheila's just been on. She's saying she can't get in either.
She can't. I've just seen her out there trying to dig her car out and she's hurt her back. She's really tried hard to get to work, but she can't do it because she's not very rich and her car doesn't work and she hasn't got the right tyres. And there's no public transport. They've cancelled those. Wrong snow on this country. I'm not going to make it in today, son, so I'll see you tomorrow, right, boy?
Well, no, you're saying you'll see me tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you'll probably call up tomorrow with the same thing.
Well, only if it's snowing still.
Now, listen,
it might not
I can't run a business like this, Bob.
Yeah, it's not my fault, is it really?
So go round to Sheila's and like slag me off if you want. But I'll tell you what, you're not coming back here. Oh. Fuck off. One chance. Give them one chance.
Oh. Well, you didn't even give them one chance.
No, because they've done it before.
Oh, fucking hell.
Just annoys me. I went to, what's her name? Harley Street. I went for a checkup. And, like a medical. Posh, you know Harley Street, it's like it's the top doctors, isn't it? I've never been before. Yeah. All posh buildings and that. Went up to the counter. I said, I see the doctor. They said, name, yeah. Give us 10 minutes, go and wait in the waiting room. Dead posh waiting room. Dead fancy. Big leather furniture and that.
Yep.
Loads of magazines. I mean, like a newsagent's. In the middle of the room on a table. Loads of them. So I'm looking through and there's the top quality ones, your Esquire, GQ, classy, Yacht Weekly, all that country life. Boys.
Boys?
There's one there, yeah. Boys. What's that? Right, lifted up like the one on top of it, and it's like boys with a Z. Two fellas stood there, looking sort of Italian looking.
Yeah. Right.
Dungarees on.
No shirt though.
No shirt, just dungarees sort of unbuttoned, hanging down a little bit.
Sure.
So no one else is about. I'm never going to buy a magazine like that.
You're going to tell us you looked through a gay magazine?
I had a little look, just because I thought, you know, like I say, it's one
You're
chance.
always looking to learn, aren't you? You're always looking to learn.
Yeah.
Always open, you know, there might have been something in there that I go, right, I get it now, I understand why they like doing that or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So she said I was going to, 10-minute wait, I can have a quick flick through. Picked it up, had a look. Still none the wiser.
Why?
Well, what did you see when you opened it up?
Just loads of, I mean, like I've said to you before about, I don't know why they like looking at knobs when they've got one of their own.
Right.
There's no
right.
surprises there. You're not going to go, oh,
Sure,
that's
yeah.
nice. Some had like car oil on the face. Knob out.
Yeah.
There was someone sat on like one of them square things of hay.
Oh yeah.
Sat there, like sort of sat on it, straddling it.
Yeah. That must have been uncomfortable.
Again, knob out.
Yeah, just looking like it's normal.
That's
Sort of
crazy.
sat
No
there.
farmer walks around like that.
What was the other one? There was motorbike. They always like them.
Yeah.
No, I'm going through and then like the content is all puns.
Right.
Everything was to do with knob.
Right.
That's the only bit they're interested in the male body.
Look at this bloke
It's
straddling
not-
this huge throbbing thing. The bike's not bad either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all that,
yeah.
loads of them. It was just cock, just 100%. Like let's just talk about the knob.
That's a good name for a gay magazine.
100% cock.
100% cock.
Did it not at any moment sort of maybe slightly unnerve you that the doctor might come in and see you reading boys?
No, because I wasn't.
What about if I walked through? Because I remember once when you were in hospital about to have a tube going down your knob and you were sitting in your pants with stockings on and I walked through and you were horrified. So what if I'd have walked in then and went,
Yeah,
Carl, what are you
I
doing?
would have just said, look at this. Look at this, it's free.
And I said, why did you bring that with you?
No, I would have just said, look, does it look like I brought it with me? Look
Yeah,
at this.
yes, it does.
Well,
Because I've never.
what? So you
Because
look
I would never see. You would never see a gay magazine in a doctor's waiting room. So I think you bought that and pretended that it was there.
That's the thing. I was amazed by that because there was no there was no Mayfair or anything. They just catered for if you wanted a bit of knob action. It was really. I mean, really, I could have complained.
Sure.
So if you're gonna have this, where's a bit of the other?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a bit of this. Where's a bit of the other?
I know one of the things that they had, and I thought they're really struggling with ideas. They had a Sukoko.
As in Sudoku.
Yeah.
Sukoko.
Surely Sadiko is better.
No, because it was like Sukoko.
Yeah, but it's Dick as well.
Subdico.
Yeah.
What? And it was still a Sudoku style puzzle, but it just had that name.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
So
everything.
It was just Sudoku, but called Coco. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Now, if I was gay, do you know
Let's have
they
a
say?
game of Lubo. Let's have a game of Knobopoly.
Noberation.
Noberation. Let's have a game of chess. Cock. Let's have a game of fuckaroo.
Well, that works for either sex.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how we spend our
Okay then,
Christmases.
fuck a poo.
Oh, God. Well, obviously, Carl was out with me last night, and he saw that he knows I'm a ladies' man, and that was obvious. Carl, you could see the vibe around me, couldn't you? When the chicks were talking to me, and just remembered recently, actually, I was on a train coming back from hometown Bristol, and I was on the train, and this girl walks on, good-looking girl. I thought, hey, largely empty carriage. I'm thinking, well, luck's in, because I take every opportunity, Carl. That's the thing about me, I don't choose. She was a good-looking girl. She sat down. I thought she sat down right near me. I thought, brilliant. As this guy comes up behind her, and says, I think it's probably a boyfriend or something. Sits down next to her. And I listened in on the conversation, obviously, because I'm pretending to read. It was very clever. I read the same page for hours, so I was pretending to listen. I was listening, but pretending to read. And I realised that it's not her boyfriend or anything, it's just some guy she's met on the platform. And I'm thinking, brilliant. If she's the kind of girl who's just going to start talking to someone, you know, on a platform, on a train, brilliant, I'm going to be in here. Because he was only going one stop. So I'm thinking, what's the worst that can happen? He'll nick off, you know, I'll get chatting to her, you know, and who knows, I could join the... is there a train equivalent?
Foot High Club.
The Foot High Club, brilliant. And so I'm excited, you know, I'm listening in. And it turns out that they're both kind of graduates, they've just finished university, or they're coming to their finals or something. And they're chatting away, you know, and he's making a couple of witticisms, you know. And she's kind of tittering at his jokes. I'm thinking, well, I'll tell you this, if she's laughing at this kind of material, I am going to blow her away, you know, with my kind of anecdotes and wry observations, you know.
Yeah.
It was weak stuff, I got to be honest.
Really?
He was coming out with nothing. He was running on empty, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And she was loving it. So I'm thinking, brilliant, I'm going to be right in here. And then they get moving on to higher brow things, you know, and I think she was going to study kind of Marxism or something like that, or communism, something. And she was asking him, you know, by way of conversation, she was asking him what he knew about Marxism, you know. And he was fumbling for his vague knowledge of it that he had in his life. And I'm just sat there thinking, yeah, come on, love, in any given capitalist environment, the proletariat will revolt against their oppression by the bourgeoisie, and after a brief period of socialist rule emerges a classist society governed by community cooperation.
Well, if that sort of talk wouldn't get a woman hot, I don't
Come
know.
on,
I don't
Rick.
know what you'd use then.
If Marx and Engels is not going to get a woman sweaty down below, then nothing is. Then my name is
You're just biding your time.
Exactly.
Yeah?
I'm just going to go in for the kill any minute.
Yeah.
So anyway, it comes to his stop, right? He gets up. I'm thinking this is a piece of cake, and he gets off, and off he goes. He walks off, and I'm thinking brilliant. And I thought, I'll wait. You know, I'll wait till the train's pulled away. I'm not going to leap in straight away.
No.
And he comes back along the carriage, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute. He goes, listen, do you mind if I give you my email address, right? And if you want to get in touch, email me. I'm thinking, come on, you loser, get off now. Save your face, please, before it's too embarrassing. She accepts the email address because she obviously doesn't want to hurt his feelings, whatever. I'm thinking, fair enough. She's a good woman. I'm liking her. I'm loving her. I'm thinking that's my kind of girl. So anyway, he gets off. I'm sat there, the train pulls away. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll wait a few minutes, you know, I'll just, you know, give it some time. Her phone rings. It's her friend on the phone. And she starts to, and I was listening in, and she was going, yeah, just met a guy on the train. I'm thinking, yeah, that's true enough. She goes, yeah, he was a good-looking guy. I thought, you're having a laugh, love. To be honest. Because I was looking at him, and she said to her friend, he looks a bit like tennis player Boris Becker. I thought, well, you should be so lucky, frankly, because I saw him. He had awful facial hair, if that's what makes him look like Boris Becker. Terrible little goatee beard. It was laughable. I thought, I don't know. And then she goes to think, and she's like, yeah, I met him, we got chatting and stuff, you know. And she was going, it's not often that you meet someone, you know, generally in life, who's, you know, kind of thoughtful and intelligent and funny. I thought to myself, I'm not even going to waste my time with you, love. Frankly, if that's what you thought of him.
You just walked away.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even bother talking to her.
No, you were just
didn't even
above
waste
it.
my time with her.
If she thinks that bloke is not
If
only
she thought
great
he was
looking,
funny,
but
great
funny
looking-
and intelligent, and she got on well, and he was polite, and it was a chance meeting, and he thought, and she thought that you were like a freaky looking dork who didn't even have the nerve to
If
speak.
that is what
if that's
she
what
was
she thinks,
thinking,
then
then I
she's
don't
not-
wanna know it.
I couldn't. You walked away, and good luck to you.
And I have my dignity intact.
Yes, and she's nothing.
Hey there, welcome to the Drawing Codex. In this video I want to do a simple drawing lesson covering one thing. How do we draw the figure from different angles? How do we draw it from above, from below, etc. This is one of the biggest challenges that faces the artist at the outset, and even when you're well into your artistic journey, it can be a real stumbling block. And what I want to do is give you a few really simple exercises and ways to think about this so that you can practice. Now, obviously, this is something that relies on a lot of foundational perspective, and there's a lot of moving parts here, but I think there's a couple of key concepts that you can apply straight away, even if you haven't fully fleshed out your drawing foundation, even if your perspective is not 100%. I think there's a lot of things that you can take away and start practicing to make sure that your figures look as if they're grounded. Anyway, let's jump in and get started. Alright, welcome again to the Drawing Codex. My name's Tim McBurney. I've been a professional working artist for over 20 years, and on this channel we're all about drawing cool stuff from our imagination, embracing the challenge of drawing, and mastering the craft of line and color illustration. If you want to learn more about line and color illustration, you can check out my free quick start guide. It gives you my basic advice for how to get up and running quickly in Photoshop with a line and color style. I go over how to build a simple, reliable process in Photoshop, and I give you my tips for going from thumbnail to the finished image. I also give you all the brushes and all the basic stuff you need to get up and started with the line and color style. This is where we create worlds with simple line and color. So it's not like there's a lack of information on these ideas of how to draw the figure from different angles. The basic idea, as should be pretty obvious, is that we combine the simple idea of taking a mannequin, of taking a stick figure, and then we basically just rotate it in space. The problem is that's easier said than done, and it's hard to know how to approach it. In the same way, you can read Andrew Loomis's book, Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, which is great, and it has a lot of information there. But again, I think the challenge for me when I was figuring out how to do a lot of this is, what do I start with, and how do I actually make that apply not just to the standard human anatomy, but maybe how do we make it apply to more cartoony things as well? I think what I want to do is, again, try those two dual concepts. One is, again, how do we draw the standard mannequin, but also maybe something a lot more cartoony may also help us to understand how this functions, so I can demonstrate that to you. But basically what I want to try and do is give you a simple exercise that you can go away and either follow along with me or take with you and just practice in your sketchbook as you go. Now, this is one of those concepts that I think is really important. And when I was starting out, again, I'd have ideas and they'd often be stifled by the fact that I couldn't draw characters from all sorts of different angles. And it took me a long time to really figure out, how to do that. But I think it's important to note that often when we are drawing things that, you don't always have to draw things from crazy angles. Not everything has to be some ridiculous, amazing angle, where you're drawing stuff from a crazy, sort of action pose where there's a million characters. You can see, right, like this panel here is a little bit like that. There's tons of characters, they're all fighting. Camera's low. That's important. That's a little bit different to what I want to do. And again, in this exercise, because in order to do that, you kind of have to begin with the basics. You sort of have to really, really understand the simple way that perspective and boxes and box sort of logic or theory relates to the figure. And this is actually a really good way, just practicing drawing that mannequin and that figure from different angles. It's a really good way to understand the concepts of proportion and structure and just how you actually go about building something that kind of looks solid but is viewed from an angle that is maybe more interesting or exciting. Anyway, I don't want to go on for too long because I think you get the basic idea of where we're going with this. Let's jump over to the drawing table and get started. All right, here we are at the drawing table. Now, as I said, in most cases when you're drawing comics, you are working within a fairly limited framework of poses and things that you need to create, that you need to kind of make real from your imagination or from the script. In most cases, I think what you'll find is that you don't always have to draw a lot of these heavy down angle shots, right? It just doesn't often make sense. When you do, it's really, really important. But if we think about often, if I take the basic idea of creating a Loomis stick figure mannequin, and if you're new to the channel and you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, there's a lot of other videos that I have on the channel talking about the concepts of creating a mannequin and drawing solidly. And I'll link to a few of the basic ones in the description. So check that out if you might get a little bit lost with exactly what I'm talking about here. But the basic idea, as you may know if you've looked at these concepts before, is that we basically just draw a stick figure. Now, you can think about the basic idea here being that maybe you might have a panel where there's a few characters, right, and they're talking. So there's lots of situations where you might want to frame a panel or an illustration or whatever you want to do, right? You might have lots of reasons. So again, I'm just kind of winging this a little bit, not being that technical with it, just for illustrative purposes. All right, but again, you might have some people talking to each other in a panel, and you need to do this kind of down shot. Now, that's useful, but in my experience, most of the time what you want to do is see faces and make sure that the posing is sort of clear. And this is quite a disassociated shot, and you may have a lot of stories and a lot of ideas that involve this basic concept of, hey, we're looking down at a scene. All right, again, there might be more characters over here. All right, again, just roughly transferring, all right, some of those ideas. Oh, that one's getting a little bit out of whack. But again, you know, there might be a whole crowd full of people, right? And now, if you don't know what you're doing, this type of scene is just an absolute unmitigated nightmare to execute on. So it is really, really important to kind of understand your basic perspective and all of that stuff. It'll really, really make your life a lot easier, and it'll make these kind of things a lot more fun. In most cases, though, I do want to point out, because I think it is super important to remember that in most cases, we're just dealing with minor variations, with minor tilts. So, and this is just my experience, but again, this is just practical advice if you're thinking about this. Often this is the thing that terrifies me, right? I wake up in a cold sweat as a young artist, sort of thinking about, please don't make me draw this kind of scene because it's just too hard. But what I found in most cases is that, yeah, there's a couple of things, right? You can see this scene is a little bit like that. We've got a few characters kind of from above. But the idea of having to draw extensive scenes where, you know, there's all these sort of dynamic angles, maybe in superhero comics there might be a little bit more of that. But in most cases we're dealing with looking at faces and fairly simple shots, which is very, very similar to what you would look at in a film. We're often choosing shots for clarity so we can read the character's face. Again, in comics or similarly in an illustration, you kind of want to see the character's face. You want to see them fairly straight on. And I think in most cases, this sort of thing is not actually what you spend most of your time doing. And certainly if you're doing illustrations, primarily often what we're talking about from a compositional standpoint is, it's frequently involving characters who are pretty front on. You know, if you deal with your classic sort of pin-up character, right, it basically is some form of this. Now, it might involve a lot of twisting of the figure, but not a lot of this need to make it grounded and draw it from different angles. But I feel like this idea of just learning how do we draw the figure like this, and then how do we do the opposite of that, which is draw it from below, right? Go here, same stick figure idea, boom, boom. Got a head there, right? And then we're going to have arm here, right? Something like this. And again, you can continue the basic concept as you go, right? If we want to do that from the back, very, very simple, right? We just sort of flip the character around, right? And then we're drawing this. So I'm just going to be putting in rough perspective to illustrate what I need, and this is typically what I would do for myself. And I'm just illustrating the different options here. So we will get to some actual exercises, and I'll talk specifically about what I'm doing and how you can pull some concepts from books like the Loomis books or other sort of how to draw books and sort of actually try and get your head around this basic concept. But again, you know, we do it from the back. It's the same thing. All right. So here, the face is like this. All right, here it's from the back. And the difference really is just what does that arc of the spine look like, and how do these limbs tend to bend, right, as a very sort of rough basic idea. So again, these are a little bit from above and, you know, below. These ones are a little bit more. The basic concept is the same. Again, the reason that you would have you know, some need to draw like a really kind of worm's eye view of something like this, I don't know why you would need to do that, but say you did. Again, it's going to be a very similar concept, right? Feet are going to be on the ground, shoulders are going to be somewhere here, right? Head is going to be up there. We're going to have some arms here. Right. So again, sorry that guys got a little bit squished, but again, it's the same idea. It's just a matter of how much exaggeration is there on this perspective grid, if that makes sense. Let's see if we can do better on that head. All right. See if we can find the form of that torso a little bit. Head goes there. Yeah, might look, that's a little bit better. But it's all the same idea. What we're doing is we're taking the basic concept of a skeleton or a mannequin or a stick figure, and we're just drawing it from different angles. As I said, the problem is that's its own challenge, and that really is what I want to talk about in this lesson and show you is how do we combine the concepts of box logic or drawing simple geoforms, which again is very, very much linked to this, and how do we find some exercises and things you can do so you can jump in and start practicing this. Alright, so if we look at the pages that you might find in a traditional drawing book that are going to be related to this concept, it's often at the beginning, and it's where we link up concepts of perspective. So you can see here some great illustrations of how the concepts of proportion and perspective and just lining things up are going to work in 3 dimensions. So this is really what we're dealing with, is the idea that if we understand the basic proportions of the mannequin, which you can find in some of the additional videos I've got that I'll link below so you can check those out. But again, I'll go over them super quickly in this video so you can just jump in if you need. And then it's just simply a matter of understanding how perspective works. A lot of it does involve this simple concept of thinking of a plane and how we derive some simple proportion from that plane. Alright, so the task is pretty simple. What we need to do and what is good to practice is just practice drawing space or a line that your character is going to occupy. And what we want to do is find these proportional markers. The one that I think is the most important to find and the one that you can practice finding is the halfway mark. And that essentially is going to divide the character around about the bottom of the pelvis or at the crotch area. This will also line up with the base of the hand. And this is a really, really important marker because, again, it basically divides the legs from the top of the figure. And this really is one of the major things that you're trying to do. So what you can practice doing is drawing that character in 2 dimensions. And then you can practice drawing them in 3 dimensions. Now, once you get a feel for the proportional division, it's a lot easier to add dimension. So if we, and again, I'm just going to be fairly rough with this, so apologies if some of these lines don't match up. I won't do this with a ruler because it's a little bit easier to just kind of see when we're doing it by hand, but some of these lines might not match up. The more accurate you can be with this, the better, and I'd say if you study your basic perspective with a ruler, it'll really help you to make sure you're not making errors based on simple errors of the hand, let's say. But either way, it's important to understand how accurate you need to be with these lines. So even if you're not using a ruler, you have to understand how likely are you to gauge proportion in 2 dimensions. If you're having trouble doing it in 2 dimensions, then it's very tricky for you to just magically turn that into 3 dimensions. So just remember that. the first thing we're going to do is just figure out how do we draw that character in 2 dimensions, and we're going to divide the mannequin up into 1 proportion and 2 proportions. As I said, basically dividing the character at halfway and that sort of crotch area, right? So we've got something like this. Now, as I said, I've got more videos that talk about this in detail. But this should illustrate the basic point. So what we need to find is these set of proportions. We got 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top. And we use these to define essentially where the head is going to go up top, where the top of the shoulders are going to go, and where the sort of normally this line is a really good line for where the breasts or the nipples are going to sort of go, again halfway up the arm. And this bottom of this third marker is where you're going to have your navel and the bottom of the elbow. Down below, we're going to again divide this second proportion in half, and we've got 1, 2. The top is going to be the top of the legs, and the second one is the bottom of the legs. We've got some feet down here. We then know that the hand is probably going to come a little bit above the knee, normally 1 hand length above the knee, somewhere again around there. And that's the simple 2-dimensional proportion. Again, what we're doing is just making a stick figure out of this concept here. So this is where just, potentially copying these things or studying these or having some, you print out a version of this on your, computer or something like that, print it out, stick it up on the wall. It really helps to kind of make sure this stuff is fully imprinted into your memory. So it's important here that we find this halfway point. This division is really, really going to help. And again, you can fully study the figure, you can fully study all of these, but this is really the first exercise that I think you should apply. And this is the primary exercise that I think will really, really help you to just understand how to draw the figure from different angles. So in this case, if we transfer that proportion, right, so I'm sort of drawing it as a plane here, but this is just roughly to kind of illustrate things. Now I can guesstimate roughly where halfway up there is. But this is what we're dealing with when, all right, and we can divide that up. All right, we can divide that up. This is where thinking about those proportions in 2D will help us in 3D. So you can see that if I find the midpoint, then it's very easy for me to roughly guesstimate where these other 1, 2, 3, 4 proportions are going to be. In the same way, it's going to be a lot easier for me to now guesstimate where these feet and legs are going to be. That is the baseline. And if we think about essentially repeating this concept again and again, it's just a matter of getting to a point where you line all of these things up. Now, obviously, this changes as you pose the figure differently, as you move things around, as the character moves. But if you're thinking about how to get your head around this in the beginning, this is where you start. And I think that can be one of the biggest challenges with this overall exercise, is just understanding what is actually going to teach you how to get better at this. It often is this simpler exercise where you're just thinking about, okay, let's make sure I can control proportion. as I just adjust the figure and draw it from a slightly different angle, right? So if we take a simple, got a little sort of toy here that'll sort of help us understand this, just start by rotating the figure a little bit, right? Just start by trying to draw it from a little bit of an angle there, and then maybe you can draw it from an angle that's slightly below, and then you can maybe try draw it from behind, etc., etc. Just ratchet up the complexity a little bit by bit. That's one of the things that will really, really help you. This is where it all happens, at that halfway point. So what you can do is just practice the idea of how do you divide up that space. So what we're doing is essentially taking the fundamental principle of perspective here, that is the one you take away. And that is that we can apply whatever is possible with two-dimensional geometry to three-dimensional perspective, as long as we have a good idea where the vanishing points are and where the essential grid is. All right, so we've got a grid, boom, boom. So I can do the same thing here, because these corners don't move in two-dimensional space, and I can draw a line between them, and then I know how to divide up that space. So this is the fundamental concept of perspective that will help you to initially gauge that proportion. So we can think about this, right? If we have like a lot of extreme exaggeration, we still can find halfway up. And it's this experimentation with this basic concept that will teach you a lot about how to change the camera angle. Now, behind this is the concept of the perspective grid, which I think is its own challenge. And this is where what we can try and do is understand the basic takeaways that we're going to get from perspective as it relates to the figure. But if you have to understand that there's a point at which you need to go away and learn perspective properly if you want to really, really get stuck into this. But the fundamental thing that will help you understand it is the box logic, or just viewing the box that surrounds your space. You've probably seen a lot of people talk about this, and there's a lot of discussion about this as being important for your drawing, to understand the grids and the simple idea of three-dimensional space. So this is like a perspective grid. It's a sense that all these lines are heading towards a vanishing point. And again, I'm just being very rough. Now, what we're trying to do here is increase our ability to visualize three-dimensional space around the character. And that's really all you have to do. What you have to do is imagine that as you rotate the cube, the figure rotates. As you rotate the figure, the cube rotates. And don't worry too much about the rest of perspective. Again, the more you can understand about it, the better. But at the outset, what we have to think about is just this simple concept of where these lines might be, and just make sure that as we line things up, things like our feet, things like our shoulders, are lining up with each other. Now, again, that will change as the hands move, right? As the hand moves up, as we pose the character, obviously all of that changes. It's really important to start and again get your understanding of the initial perspective right, though, because it's very easy to move things around once you get the character feeling as if they're solid. So the first part of the exercise is, as I said, just study and get good at dividing up space with different grids. I actually have a whole video on this basic concept that is talking about how you draw straight lines. And one of the reasons I use a grid as a good way for you to understand how to draw straight lines is because often the reason we're drawing straight lines is to draw a grid. So the concept of physically being able to draw grids is super important. But what you do here with the figure is just draw some different grids and then try and figure out where the halfway point is. Again, that's not a very good one. Keep going, keep experimenting. Etc., etc. We can think about, again, that idea of drawing a character where we're at a worm's eye view or bird's eye view, whatever it is. The most important thing initially is really basic. Just get that initial halfway point there. Once you do that, everything else becomes easy. Now, how do we sort of connect up the figure with this? Because I'm sure a lot of people are, at this point, sort of tuning out because this seems boring. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges, is understanding how this relates to what you want to do and why is it important. Well, obviously, once we get this right, we can then start to apply it to everything else. If we don't get this right, everything else is kind of a waste of time. All right, so how do we actually apply that? What I want to do mostly is talk about how that is applied and show it to you and give you a few little tools so that you can copy along, maybe try this with some of your characters or start to think about it. The goal here is that the more we can connect up figures and characters and interesting things with the topics of perspective, the more you're likely to get really interested in perspective and improving your perspective. If you can directly translate and apply the concepts that you might learn by studying 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective, etc., at improving your technical drawing, then you can directly say, hey, now that I know that I've got this a little bit more accurate, that means the lines that I'm going to use to line up my character are going to be more accurate. I think that is the goal here. It's really easy doing drawing lessons to get lost in the weeds about perspective and form drawing and the concepts of boxes. So what I'm going to try and do is, again, just show you a little bit more how I do this so that hopefully you can get interested in learning the perspective if that's something that is lacking. And we can do some more basic perspective lessons on the channel as well. Let me know what you'd like to see. So the way that I start by this and the way that I would apply the concept of those Loomis books to drawing and drawing the mannequin is as follows. Let's start by drawing a character from above, as I was doing before. The most important thing that I think we can start with is just the center line. The center line is the thing that really helps us to anchor the figure. And this is similar to this center line here that is holding up the skeleton figure. This is an imaginary line running directly down the center of the body. And we can kind of really use this to figure out where that character is situated. So here we can, let's define some fairly sort of benign perspective here. This is all I'm using. So you can see this is actually similar to a box, right? If we think about a box being like this, what I'm drawing is this. Right, so I'm drawing the center of the box. You can imagine if there was a line there, and a line there, and then a line directly down the middle. That's kind of what I'm thinking about here. Where is the perspective? But I'm not drawing a box because in my experience, trying to fit a character in a box is not actually a good way to start. But in this case, that can be useful. Now, what I'm going to do is guesstimate the halfway point up here, from here to here. And this is something where, again, if you're having trouble drawing a line, right, again, thinking about where the perspective for that might be, and then trying to sort of guesstimate where halfway up is. If that's something that's troubling you, again, the more you learn about perspective, the better your ability to guesstimate that will be. If you're struggling, one of the things you can do is, again, formalize your drawing of these sort of elements and use those two-dimensional drawing tricks that we transfer to 3 dimensions, right? And see if you can find, bang, the center of that. So again, if I was to do that formally here, right, I'm just going to imagine that there is some sort of grid here that makes sense, right? So both these lines are going to some vanishing point, and I've got a line here. Boom. I'm going to try and guesstimate that's kind of down there straight, right? Boom. And then we can do the same thing here. So this is really the one that is super important to get right. Oh, I don't have a big enough ruler. Let's see if I can. I'll sort of see if I can guesstimate it kind of there. I think it's somewhere. Look, it's. Don't do that at home, people. Get a longer ruler. But I think this is going to be. It's pretty close. It's somewhere around there. So that is pretty close. Again, my guesstimation, and if we were to look at the vertical distance here, right, that's kind of 19. Half of 19 is somewhere around here, 9.5. So it's actually sort of like pretty much visually and measurement-wise exactly the same. Now, that's going to change depending on how much extreme perspective you get. But what I would do if you're thinking about drawing characters from above and different angles is just start with something basic like this. If you start to get to the point where you're thinking, oh, drawing characters from above equals really, really distorted grids. So it's not just that we're drawing the character from above, right? It's that we're drawing these kind of really extreme perspective shots. What you're doing is getting two concepts mixed up, in my opinion. One is the concept of the camera angle and how much distortion there is and how much exaggeration in the grid there is, from the concepts of lining things up and thinking about where the camera actually might be in relation to the figure. It's a lot easier to start with very low distortion. Again, it's very easy here to jump into a whole another subject of camera lenses, etc., etc., etc. The point is that you can draw a character, again, like a small character that's like fairly far away. There's not going to be heaps and heaps of distortion on this figure because, again, they're fairly small in relation to the camera. With a much larger figure, right, that gets really close to the camera, right, we can sort of take this really close to the camera. Sorry, it's going to get blurry, but you see the closer to the camera we get, the more distortion you get, right? So again, sorry it's blurry, but you get the basic idea. The camera angle is relating to what we're dealing with here in terms of extreme perspective. Now, that's something where the more of this extreme perspective you do, the better you'll be able to relate this to this. But when you're learning, stick with this. Just make it a very simple grid where you don't have a lot of distortion. Once you've done that, you can ratchet up the complexity. Super, super important. And again, if you're struggling with some of these concepts, as I said before, go check out some more fundamental perspective exercises. A lot of those you can actually see and study within those Loomis books. And again, I will make some more in the future on the channel. So the basic concept here is, again, we've got these proportional markers, and I'm just going to guesstimate, right, some lines going along here. Right, and we can also visualize some sort of lines going here that might sort of help us. And then we've also got, we're sort of halfway up here. Oh, yeah, maybe let's sort of guesstimate that. Try and draw a line. And what we're doing is adding just a very, very simple modification of our sort of initial Loomis proportion and sort of drawing, where we learn to draw the mannequin like this. I've got a head here, neck here, right, shoulders here, etc. So we're drawing the mannequin like this. What we're doing is we're taking these lines which don't have a lot of distortion on them, and we're just making sure that we draw them from different angles. That really is all that's going on. Just because you don't have extreme distortion in your perspective doesn't mean it isn't in perspective. That really is just related to the lens and where we're seeing characters from. Again, if you think about going back to that sketch I had before where I had a bunch of little characters on the ground, normally that's going to be taken with a camera lens that's quite far away, taking a big sort of scenic shot from afar, and you're not actually going to have a lot of this distortion. This type of distortion is going to be much more prevalent when you've got the object really, really close to the camera, and there's going to be a lot more distortion there. So just keep that in mind. Now, this is still perspective, even though it's not ridiculously distorted. What we're trying to do is get used to lining up the character and drawing them from above and below. So here we're just going to do above, and hopefully I'll do a quick one below, and then we'll do a quick little sort of more cartoony character to show you how you apply the same basic concepts to something with a little bit more different proportional set. A little bit more of a different proportional set. So again, the reason I feel like focusing on the center line is important is that really is literally at the core of what we are trying to do. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and here I've got, right, I've got my 1, right, 2. So what I know is that here, right, I'm going to have my sort of pelvic probably a little bit higher, right? We're going to have the pelvic bit here, and this right rib cage is actually going to come down here. So really good to get used to drawing these forms out in 3 dimensions. And this really is the skill that's probably more important and is going to help you. The grid helps us line up these points. So here I'm going to have, right, we've got the spine coming there. All right, we're going to have spine coming up there, and it's going to go into the head, just somewhere around here. Boom, boom, boom. Drop a line down there. Let's sharpen this pencil. All right, so we've got our head here. The lines will help us find these elements like the shoulder blades, right? They're going to help us find the shoulders from side to side. They're going to allow us to line up, again, the concept of where the hip bones are going to be. But you can see that having this concept of the center line is something that's really easy to keep us honest, because we can trace the spine, we can trace the which goes directly up the figure, and we can use that to help us find these different elements, and that, you know, just immediately will get us a lot closer to having something that feels symmetrical. And again, what we're after now is we've got this grid this way, right? We sort of have a grid this way. We don't really need it for a lot of things. But this is where, again, you can line things up and try and imagine where we have symmetry. Now, if you wanted to get more technical with the symmetry, you could try and do more technical perspective work to mirror. Again, I'm just going to eyeball. And what I would suggest is you just keep trying to eyeball it until you get sick of eyeballing it, and then go and learn how to measure it. Go and learn how to do it technically in perspective, and it'll hopefully be a lot more interesting then, because then once you learn it, you can come back to this and you know that you'll be more accurate. As I keep saying, I feel like that's so important. It's important to fail here. It's important to try to eyeball. It's not a matter of like get to a point where you're a 10 out of 10 at technical perspective, and then you can start eyeballing. No, you know, you are always guessing. You're always drawing cool stuff. Again, that's my primary recommendation: is draw cool stuff, and you know, figure out what you need to learn from drawing that interesting stuff. And do a little bit of this type of more academic study where we try and apply these things, and then you know, go apply it to your cool stuff, and then you go back and forward and back and forward and back and forth. That really is the sort of magical answer as far as I'm concerned. That's really what sort of worked for me, and that's what I find typically works with students, is when they're constantly combining those two things. So what that means is sometimes you jump in and try and guess, and you fail, and you can redraw, and you can sketch around and try and draw something interesting, draw something fun. You know, try and, if you want to draw mechs, you know, try and draw some mechs from different angles. If you want to draw, you know, fantasy stuff or aliens, you know, draw some alien characters from different angles, etc., etc. Now, I've talked a lot about in other videos as well how to add the musculature on top of the mannequin. So for this demo, we'll just deal with mannequins, right? Because the process is almost identical. It's just a matter of thinking about, again, how the muscles kind of wrap around and look from different angles. But the trick here is, how do we figure out where these points of proportion are? So again, I've got this bottom of this third. Proportion is often where I'm going to have my elbow. And here, again, I'm going to find that I'm going to have a combination of, I've got the bottom of the pelvis here, and the hand, right, is going to stop. Right, hand is sort of going to start just below there. Got the elbow. Right, hand is going to, and this is where, again, what you tend to find is your intuition will be challenged. So the feeling of like, wait a minute, how long is this forearm? Well, I know from a proportional standpoint, right, if we look at this, that again, I've got that bottom of that rib cage. Just look at this and check, because again, this is a major thing that will come up. I've got the bottom of the rib cage. All right, it's going to line up with that elbow. Now, it's very easy to figure out the depth and the length of these things when you're just drawing it flat on, but it's very easy to become challenged and accidentally draw stuff too long or too small or whatever, or just kind of, you just get tripped up and you're no longer able to engage your normal natural drawing intuition. So it's important here to double check and remember your proportions. We can see again at the bottom of the pelvis there, that's kind of where the hands start, and the hands then go down, and they're kind of, you know, ending about halfway up this bone, or about, as I often say, one hand length above the knee, or certainly the hinge point of the leg. Whoop. So that is one of these things that's kind of quite tricky from a proportional standpoint to really get. All right, is understanding where these lines are likely to go. All right, so then we're going to have a line about there. All right, we're going to have a hand. If the hand was sort of extended, it would be about here, right? If it was in a fist, it would probably be here. And here we've got the knee. Here we've got this. Now, this, I think, is often the biggest problem when it comes to drawing these things from different angles, is making sure that they connect with the ground. And more important, and probably the subject of a different video, is how do you do, as I was doing in that other sketch, multiple characters from the same angle and make sure they all feel like they're sitting on the ground plane. Again, this is where having a good sense of that center line will really help. If we know where that center line is, you can easily understand that the feet, you know, if they're just sort of planted normally, which is what I'd recommend initially to give them just a standard sort of pose, is they're going to be equidistant more or less in a standard pose from that center line. Now, again, the subject of another video is kind of how we modify the posture and get different feelings there. But just understanding where that center line is in space, and then just sort of placing the heels of the feet somewhere so that there's an equal distance from here to here is super helpful. And then what I'm doing is basically just thinking about where these lines are going out at different angles. So you can think about that from a two-dimensional standpoint. If I'm looking down, right, here's this line on the ground, here's the center line, here's this foot here, and here's this foot here. And what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, the feet are kind of turned outward, a little bit like they are here. I'm doing it a little bit more exaggerated to make the point. But again, just visualizing the space, understanding the center, being able to measure, right? Again, it's the same thing. Visualizing the center line, measuring that space or guesstimating that space. Again, visualizing that center, understanding the points, right? So if we reattach our poor little skeleton's arm, again, this is the visualization we're trying to practice, is where's the center, where is the wrist sort of point, and where's the other wrist point, and just visualizing the distance. Having that center line there is super important, right? So this is what we're sort of trying to visualize. Points here, points here, points here. And really it is that simple. It's just a matter of staying true to the proportion, understanding how important the proportion is, understanding how important finding that middle section is. And what I'd say is not getting too lost in the perspective, just understanding that what we need is almost just parallel lines, right? Almost all I need to know is that, right, this line is kind of at like a similar angle to this one. It doesn't even need to be too much in perspective. I don't really even need these to be going to the same vanishing point. I just need them to kind of be almost in an isometric perspective to practice this. Again, once you start getting this and you're able to place these things accurately, I think that's when you'll be able to experiment a little bit more and take it to the next level. All right, let's try from below, because I think, again, what that will do is help us to just reiterate, do the same thing again, but we'll deal with a much more extreme angle. So we'll have a basic angle there, right? But a little bit of, let's put a little bit of an angle here, right? So maybe the horizon line is super low down, right? Here we've got our horizon line, and again, what I'm after is a sense of where that center is. So I'm just gonna, now again, there's a procedural sort of thing here, which is obviously, you know, I could draw a big box here, right? So I'm trying to find halfway here. It doesn't really matter how big this box is. That's not really the point. All I need to do, you can sort of draw any old size box. Again, I'm going to run out of ruler. Let me find a bigger one. This will solve that problem. So you can see here that it's going to find center right over here, but that does give me a really good indication of where that's going to be, because all I'm going to try and do now is sort of draw, if we sort of try and understand what's happening from a visualization standpoint, right? I've drawn this, right? And what I'm trying to visualize is where this one is going to go. Now, it's not going to go there, right? I don't want to draw it that way because that doesn't look like it's going to the same vanishing point. I want to draw it so that it feels like it's going to the same same vanishing point over there, right? That's kind of what I want, right? And I want my horizon line to be somewhere there. That's kind of what I'm doing. Now, the line can be over here. It doesn't matter. What I'm after is where is halfway up this measurement, right? So if there was a line here or a line here, if I find the center between this line and this line, it will give me halfway up all of these lines. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, if not, it's a good example of how learning some more perspective may help. So here again, what I'm doing is this is the bit that will derail you if we get it wrong. What I'm trying to do is figure out where I place this line. Now there's a really easy trick that you can use, and that is to just measure. This is another sort of easy sort of way you can do this to kind of help you guesstimate. What I can do is physically measure. Right here I've got right, sort of roughly, that's roughly 20, so 10 is going to be halfway up here. And if we sort of take a measurement here, that's 16 and a half, so 8 and a bit, right? It's going to be somewhere around there. So if I kind of draw a line between these somewhere around here, right? Again, those things don't all line up perfectly. That's going to give me a pretty good indication of where halfway up is. Or you can just guess. Totally up to you. This is a really good way where you can start to apply these boring perspective concepts to your drawing, get a better result, get a better guesstimate, and make sure, again, you're doing that thing, building that muscle of applying the technical knowledge to something that's actually going to help you. The other thing you can do is you can try guessing first, and then you can do all of the things and see how far you get. You can see I kind of guessed about there, and it was a little bit down there. The point is that we want to get a feeling for where halfway up this figure is if we then start drawing the rest of these lines. Because obviously what I'm going to do now is divide up this top thing into 4 sections, and I'm going to divide this into half. And I'm just guesstimating at that point. Why? Because this is pretty accurate, and what you'll find generally with a lot of perspective is once you kind of key into it, once you kind of understand like, oh, I get what's happening here, I've got a solid indication, I know these are true, then it's a lot easier for your brain to kind of guess the rest, if that makes sense. You kind of have the framework and the rest kind of fall into place. So again, I've got some of these lines going here. I'm not drawing them that accurately, but it is the same idea. We're going to have, what I'll do and what I suggest to do is kind of just rough it in first, right? I'm going to have here sort of pelvic stuff here. There's going to be a rib cage thingy here. Again, they're going to sort of line up a little bit. Again, you know, the side of the side of the rib cage will kind of line up with the pelvis. You kind of have that. Boom. Right. It helps me anyway to sort of visualize the spaces a little bit, right? Take those sort of jelly bean, take those, where's a good place to draw here? Take the jelly beans, right, and add dimensionality. Right? Just think about like, where is the 3-dimensional space there? Let's draw through, right? Let's try and define that space. I'm going to have a spine that goes up like that. It's going to come back behind, right, from the spine. Comes back, sort of curves in. Oh, sorry. Let's get that closer. Curves in on the small of the back, goes out, and then comes in. That's that sort of arc that I'm trying to visualize. So it's there, comes back up here, right, and then it's going to insert in the back of the skull there, right? And then I can draw the skull, right? I know, right? Can define dimensionality within that sphere, etc., etc. And here I've got, again, some shoulders. Right, I'm going to place those shoulders. Again, visualizing. Right, got sort of a neck here. Again, I feel like those shoulders could be a little bit, again, a little bit more on that line. Now, you can either rough in or guesstimate, make things a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. If you run into trouble there or consistently run into trouble, again, one of the things that I'm facing is, as I often see with these drawing demos, I'm looking at this paper from a little bit of an angle. I'm also meant to be looking up at it from the drawing, so it's going to be hard for me to gauge how big that head actually needs to be. But when I rough it in, again, the things that will help me to visualize that are, again, thinking about where that center line is, right? So it's almost like we're sort of, you know, got the sphere, right? We're sort of chopping half of it off, and then we got this, right? And there'll be like eyes here. So I'm sort of trying to think about where that is under there. That will sort of help. And again, this is just construction drawing, so you know, if you're practicing these things, go crazy with it. Draw the lines, make it messy. It's you know, it's really worthwhile going pretty rough, you know, as rough as you need. But again, you know, might need to make that head a little bit bigger or smaller. Again, don't feel like when you're doing these exercises that you need to get the ruler out for everything. Part of this is training your intuition and your ability to just kind of wing it and see how you go. So don't freak out if, you know, you're like, oh, I need to make the head a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. If it's really important and it's a really, really highly detailed illustration, then, you know, you might measure it out a little bit more. But most of the time with the mannequin, what we're after is lining things up. The things that will make the drawing really sort of awful are if you know, the arms aren't lined up properly. You know, if the eyes don't sort of line up, right? If I don't, you know, if one eye's you know, up here and the other eye's down there or something silly, those are the things that are going to make the difference. It's easy to kind of make the head overall a little bit bigger, overall a little bit smaller. Make sure it fits the character you want. If you're drawing a manga character, obviously a head might be a little bit bigger, eyes are going to be a little bit bigger, right? Might be some sort of crazy hair or something like that on the figure. Who knows? Again, most of this is just get stuff in the right spot and then know the grid that you've got to line everything up on. But the good thing about proportion this way is that, you know, I don't even have to start drawing the legs because I sort of know where they're going to go. Right? I have a good understanding and a good ability to guesstimate you know, where that line is, so I kind of know where those legs are going to go, right? I've got a pretty good indication. Again, that's the heel of the foot. This is the ball of the foot, so we can't see it. This one's foreshortened, right, coming at us. Again, that's, you know, its own little drawing problem that can be quite challenging to solve, but at its core is just, you know, going through things logically and kind of thinking about what you see when you're looking at a foot from front on. But as I said, I can either draw the legs or I could draw the hands because I know where everything is going to end up. We know what's going to happen. Now, I think probably, again, that's kind of where the bottom of that rib cage is meant to go. Right, so the bottom of the rib cage is meant to be probably a little bit lower. Right, navel is sort of going to be about there, and that means probably I've drawn these shoulders a little bit narrow, based on sort of, I think we're drawing sort of like a male figure. Right, so just going to sort of guesstimate where that is going to go, and we're going to line it up. And again, doing those things is totally fine. A lot of it is just recognizing the proportion. You know, you go through it, and then just, you know, I realize, oh, that's right, you know, that torso, right, sort of comes down and you know, hits the bottom of that proportion, right? So we sort of got 1 proportion, 2 proportion, 3 proportions, 4 proportions. And here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just drew this a little bit small initially. Again, not a problem, because we can go in and adjust it. And that probably means visually this head is going to want to look a little bit bigger. But that's all we need to do. I know that the shoulders are going to be there. Again, I know that the forearms are sort of going to be about there. And as I said, we probably draw these shoulders a little bit lower. Shoulder there, shoulder there. So as I said, it's totally fine to experiment, to push and, you know, play with these things, make the shoulders a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. The goal is for you to understand what's happening, be able to troubleshoot. If you make a mistake like I did there, then, you know, you sort of know how to fix it. And mostly that you're just lining things up. So just remember, we're trying to line things up. Got the elbows are lined up, the hands lined up, the knees lined up, etc., etc., etc. I'm finding center, right? Center of that, right? Shoulders, boom, 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 etc. So again, same basic idea, very simple to apply. Practicing it can be a challenge, right? You've got to keep trying, you've got to keep playing with these things. It's very easy to make one mistake, as I said, you know, oh, this proportion's wrong. And the trick there is just fix it. Play around with fixing it. Fixing it is just as important as getting it right in the beginning. All right, we'll do one more little demo where we talk about a more sort of cartoony character, and we'll apply the basic same concepts there. Again, just to reiterate and sort of talk about how you can apply these perspective things to anything. All right, so same idea, but let's draw a little character that maybe has some different anatomical things, but we'll apply the same basic concept. We'll draw it from above. So again, what I'm doing is sort of setting a grid that way, and then I'm drawing some kind of line to help me figure out what's happening with the character. But in this case, mostly what I'm going to do is just discuss how we can use the concepts of form drawing to experiment. So here I'm going to have some sort of those hip bones, but in this case, let's draw something that maybe is a bit more like a dragon or some little character who is a little bit more cartoony. So dragon sort of creature. Right, in this case, I'm going to draw, think about where that's where the center is. I've got, right, we're lining things up. What I'm going to do is line up, that's where the knees are lined up, and then I'm going to draw one of these sort of animalistic legs. Right, so let's transfer that over. Here I've got, again, from side to side. Right, there's the center. Right, we've got this here. Got that there. We're just drawing points in space. Here I've got my pelvis. Let's see if we can find that. This is tricky because we got a lot of foreshortening here. Right, and then I've got this over here. Where's it hit the ground? Hits the ground kind of over here. So really what we have to think about is what is the line of, where does that hit the ground? Right, and how do I get that leg to sit there, right? So again, if we were to look at this from above, if I draw this line from here, right, you've got sort of the pelvis, and what we're doing is drawing legs out, boom, out here, and then it goes back, but that is kind of underneath. Right, so we're finding that point of this. Look at it from the side, it's going dunk, 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 and we're finding these points, and then it goes down, and we don't really see that, right, and then it comes out, right, and we sort of barely see that. So this is where, again, some of that perspective will come in handy. So now I'm going to draw our rib cage, and I think this is going to attach a little bit forward, so I still want to think about where that center line is going to be, but I'm going to transfer that over there. And so now what we're trying to do is find, again, like we'll have an arm here and an arm here, and we've got the spine wrapping around here. All right, we'll have a head, bump, bump, and let's put some arms down here. So I'm just going to transfer that arm right over here. Let's have some big chunky hands. Right, so we've got mannequin like this. Hopefully you guys can see this, and then we'll go, let's extend out. Right. Again, this is not a great design, mostly just because it's good to see all of these things working. Right, so we have a neck here, then we're going to have a tail. Now we find the tail by finding the point on the ground. Right, let's trace from there. We can think about what's happening here if we think about the side. Right, got pelvic bones, and then this is coming up here, right, curving around, boom. And at the front there we've sort of got the shoulders, and then this is continuing forward. Right, we've got some sort of thing there, and what's happening is this is the ground, and what I want is the tail to come down here. Right, although in this case it looks like it's coming a little bit more like that. So hopefully you can see how, again, we can practice, and again, hopefully you can see how that is going to turn into some sort of fantasy character that might look interesting. Again, just to sort of nail home the point, if we can sort of erase some of that out, and maybe, you know, put some extra sort of musculature on it so that you can see. Right, if we have some sort of arms like this. Right, leg. And here we'd have, again, some sort of toes. So yeah, again, hopefully you see that we could build that up if we wanted. And to me, you know, this is the sort of stuff that I was, you know, more interested in doing as, you know, characters that weren't, you know, typical humans. But the point is that just practicing these things, stepping through the basics, doing your simple division of space will really help. If you can do this right, if you can practice this and just keep going, break out the ruler if you need to do it. If you're finding things are going wonky, as I said, go back, check your fundamental perspective knowledge, make sure that you're being accurate. A lot of the time, these things are sort of going pear-shaped because, as I said, we're trying to do a little bit too much of this extreme perspective. You're trying to do too much. Stick with something that's almost like an isometric perspective. Isometric perspective is where, again, the lines don't really go back to a vanishing point. They're just kind of parallel to each other. That will teach you the fundamentals of how to control these grids that underline the figure and the structure. Once you do that, then you can start to build out more interesting characters. You can start to play with, again, much, much more extreme views, much more extreme angles. You could try something that is super distorted, right, where we're seeing like massive amounts of distortion there. Again, you ratchet up the difficulty bit at a time, do a little bit of this, and again, there's like levels to the degree to where you're studying. These are still abstract studies. Do a few of these things and then just go draw your normal stuff for fun, right? That's what's important. The idea is important. Having fun while you're drawing is important. If you find that these are tricky, as I said, go back and just, try and get your ability to draw cubes or some basic things as solid as that can be, because then you find that there's follow-on. There's a flow to how these things support each other. But yeah, hopefully that has been interesting. Let me know in the comments. This is a little bit more of a technical one, which I do sort of apologize for. And the real challenge here is that I think both as a drawing teacher and as a student, what I remember, and I still find this kind of frustrating, is that it is hard to know where to approach this from. There's 4 or 5 things that you absolutely need to get right in order to start rotating these figures around and drawing them from different angles, and there's no linear way you can do it, I think, that gives you some amazing solution where you just do A, B, C, and then all of a sudden it magically works. It's a progression. Again, as I say, people can get really good at drawing cubes, and then they, can't transfer those skills to their more interesting fun drawings. And likewise, if you just kind of keep doing this, but you don't study the perspective, then, you're going to find it a little bit harder to draw these things from different angles, and it's certainly going to take you a lot longer to get those things sorted. So it's a matter of doing all of these things and trying to figure out where they fit into your art journey, where they fit into your particular way of doing things. And I think the most important thing is to look for failure. Look for places where you aren't understanding things, but jump in first. Don't be afraid. It's okay if you try these things and they don't work. Don't freak out. Just step back and say, hey, what do I need to learn? Which fundamental thing am I not getting? Am I just completely not lining these things up? In many cases, it is just one of the biggest problems that you'll face is just people will be trying to draw these kind of lines and they're not even remotely going to the same vanishing point. There's a lack of accuracy. So that's where, again, just building your ability to draw straight lines, to develop grids. Again, I'll link to that video in the description. Just making sure all of that stuff is solid will help immensely. But this is a long game. This is a long journey. If you're partway along the journey, then again, you probably sort of know that already. There's no trick. As I said, you got to piece these things together in your subconscious mind a little bit at a time, and you slowly build structures that support each other. But I think what you have to understand is this does work, and you will get better at it a little bit by a little bit over time. So good luck with this. Let me know if you got any questions or comments down below. And but that's all I got for now. We'll catch you around. Happy drawing.
Other emails. We've had a lot of questions about time travel. People are fascinated about your approach to time travel. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but this is a very specific time travel question. If you had a time machine, Karl, to what event in your childhood would you travel back to and why?
what's the point in going back to things that you thought? No, it's just that it's never as good, is it? It's like a place you go on holiday, and you go back thinking it'll be as good as the first time. It never is. So I don't believe in going back to places.
What do you understand the question as? Do you think they're asking, would you go back like a ghost and spy? Would you go back and you've got your childhood back? You are that child again. You're in the body. You are the child. Or you've got your adult head and experiences on. You know,
Rick, I really don't think Karl was thinking there was any of those variations.
No,
let's be honest. But now that you've flagged him up,
I think he was thinking of him as he is now in school with a cap on.
yeah.
But
Too big for the chairs.
Yeah. Come on.
No, I don't think I would go back. It's all happened now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's an email for our own amusement.
Well, okay.
Choose an event. Okay, forget the time travel thing.
No, hang on. I think let's clarify one of Ricky's points. What if you could go back and you could live that moment again? How would you do it differently?
There's been times where I've gone, oh, that was a bit out of order or whatever. But then you learn from your mistakes, don't you? So I don't want to go back and change stuff, because it's like that thing that they go on about, innit, where they blame the butterfly on an earthquake. You know, it's going to happen. If it wasn't that butterfly, it's another one. So why pass the buck, is what I'm saying.
So you've got no regrets. There's nothing in your past you'd want to change or do differently?
What about if you went back and you spied like a ghost on something? You couldn't change anything, but you could have a look at someone and just sort of look like like Ebenezer Scrooge does at the Ghost of Christmas Past. He goes back and he's sort of like looking at himself dancing and stuff. What would you do? What would you go back and have a look at?
Yeah, but you're asking me to change. I don't want to change.
You're not changing, you're just observing.
It's impossible.
All right,
this question, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have to do this. It's impossible.
Right, yeah, I nearly died once, didn't I, on an ice pop.
Right.
Right. Now, maybe if I would have died, I'd say, well, let's go back to that, and I won't have an ice pop.
You wouldn't be doing the podcast if you'd have died. You wouldn't be having this email put to you. What are you
That's absurd. You're now saying you're rewriting history and then going back to change it.
Yeah.
There's no need. You didn't die.
And we've changed it. You can't change anything. You're just going to go back and watch something. Would you like to go back and watch yourself choking on a Mr. Freeze?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wouldn't go back now, because I'm all right. I haven't had one since. I've learnt a lesson. I'm not missing them ice pops. So
I don't think you're making the most of this opportunity to fantasise.
I don't see the point in going back in anything. I mean, do you mean go back in time to the point of you can see, like, Rome in its working day?
What, in your childhood? Was Rome about when in your childhood? Were there gladiators in your childhood?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Everything I've been through, so why see it again?
Forget it. It was just a nice little question.
I mean, that shows the lack of imagination in Karl Pilkington. Your mind can't fathom something unless it's, like, you know, got two heads.
But I don't see the point in doing something twice. Because the thing is, say if there's one good moment when I was about 6 that I loved, I'd then have to go through all the other 20 years. Again.
Well, why? Why have you imposed that? It's a fantasy. Make it up.
You could go back and come back again.
Yeah, whiz back and fast forward 35 years.
Nah.
Brilliant. No. Like it was on offer. Like this was really on offer. Move on. I was on a plane last year, okay, going from New York to LA, okay, and me and my girlfriend were one side of the plane, there was the aisle, and the other side, there were these two huge fat women, okay? Proper fat. One of them just got on and went, can I have a belt extension? Yeah, of course you can, you've earned it, right? So, proper. In fact, I was thinking of calling the pilot out and going, should one of us swap with one of them? Otherwise, we're just going to Canada. Do you know what I mean? And one of them was even fatter than the other one, okay? And she was there, and she'd got on the plane with one of those takeaway buckets of fast food. Bucket! I mean, there's your first clue. When did that happen? When did fat people just give up? When did they go into a shop and go, oh, fuck it, just treat me like a farmyard animal? Really? Give me it in a bucket. In fact, just strap it to my fucking head, and I'll just... A bucket? Really? You want your meal in a bucket? Yes. Right? So, she's there, and she's chowing down, right? And I swear, she turns to her fat friend and says, this is the best fried chicken I've had all day. But I'm not having a go. I'm not having a go. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because even though it is their own fault, and it is their own fault, I don't know if you know this about fat people, they fucking love cake. They love it. They love it, right?
And I blame the food industries, because you go into the supermarket and it's just packed with that stuff. Everything's packed with hydrogenated fats and extra calories and sugar and butter and everything, and they love that, okay? And there's always a big door, isn't there, to a supermarket? It's always, they've got a quadruple door, isn't it? No one's ever been too fat to get through the door of a supermarket, okay? And it opens automatically, so they don't have to waste calories pushing anything. There's just... And it's a good job it opens automatically, because usually it's glass and they can see the pie from down the road and they're in like that. Grazing, right? So, I say, keep the big door. Keep the big door. Sure, keep the big door. Come on, fat people. Come in you go. But when they get in there, it's all fresh fruit and veg. It's all whole grain. It's all stuff that's good for you, okay? Of course they'll be confused at first. They go, well, that's not real food to them. They think Brussels sprouts is packaging, right? They're looking, where's the cakes? Where's the cakes? The cakes are over here, but the cakes are through a different door. But this door is human-sized, okay? So now they go, there's the cakes. They go, oh, fuck, I can't get in. I can't get through the fucking door. I can't. And they're starving. I go, oh, God, what's this? I've got to eat some, what's this, a banana? Right. And they go back, oh, no, I still can't. Back and have a carrot. They're back and forth for days, and the fat's fallen off them. Soon they can slip through the door and have a cake. They can't get out again. No, but I mean... But we've got to do something. We've got to intervene. And people say, no, it's nothing to do with you. It's up to them. It's their body. It's their life. And that's true, but we don't say that about wearing crash helmets. Or if you've got a heroin addict in the family, you don't go, oh, it's his life. He loves heroin. You know, you go, no, you've got to stop this. Please don't die. And you get him and you throw him in a cupboard for 3 weeks or something. You can't throw a fat person in a cupboard. You'll do your back in like me. But, you know... Heroin addicts, they don't weigh anything, you can throw them around willy-nilly, right? But, in fact, when they're lying there with the needle hanging out, you just get the needle and flick, and they just go into the cupboard like that, okay? Fat people, you've got to lure them in. A little tray of chocolates, and they just follow that anywhere, like that. But we've got to do something, because 1/3 of the world are obese, and 1/3 of the world are starving. The fat ones are eating the skinny ones' food, basically.
If you get, I mean, I think I read that, like, a big chunk of ice fell off one of the ice, what do you call them?
Caps.
Ice caps. Something like that. I think they said it's the size of the Empire State Building or something.
Right.
It snapped off and went into the water, and it's melted. And they said, oh, it's bad news, you know, that something that size is melting. But the way I look at it, if something that size falls into the water, it's like a big ice cube, and it's gonna freeze it up again. You with me?
Not really, Carl.
Go on.
Right, you get a giant ice cube, the size of the Empire State Building, stick it in the water, it's gonna make, it's gonna stick back on again, isn't it?
Well, no, only if it freezes up again.
Yeah, well, it will freeze up, the water's gonna get cold again, because you've just put a giant ice cube in the water.
So when you put an ice cube in a drink, the drink doesn't freeze, does it?
No,
the ice melts.
If you put one the size of the Empire State Building in your glass of Jack Daniels, it's gonna make it freezing.
It's not going in a glass of Jack Daniels, it's going in the ocean.
I know, but you see, I'm using my fables. Imagine a world.
Use your brain instead!
This is a bit of a bigger issue. We're always making more and more stuff, right? In the world, you know, big buildings, big planes, big boats and that. Will we ever get to a point where all this is too heavy for the world to handle?
Right, what error has he made there, Steve? What physical, scientific error has he made there with that question?
I can't begin to explain it.
Carl, we're not getting the rocks from other planets. It's already here. It's like having a big pile of books in a room and then moving them over to the other side of the room and build a thing going, oh, can the room take it? I'm building a lot of things out of these books.
What about plastic? Where's that come from?
Other chemicals that existed on the planet.
Yeah.
Do you see the point?
Hang on a minute, though. What about a little tree? You plant that as an acorn, it grows, Rick. That's bigger, that's more stuff.
Yeah.
Don't listen to him, Carl. He's patronising you.
What about acorns and that, though?
Right. They grow from minerals and proteins already in our atmosphere or in our the mass of Earth.
What about a cat, Carl? Right, you get it, it's a very tiny kitten, but it grows up and it's bigger.
Carl, he's doing it on purpose.
Elephants.
They're very small to begin with, but they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and so they get heavier and heavier.
Mind you, dinosaurs have gone.
You know, but you... but you know,
these are milestones in human evolution. The opposable, the forward-facing eyes, the upright. These are massive things in taking us out of the animal kingdom.
And one day, Carl, you'll walk upright.
But what do you mean about eyes facing forward? You mean before we got here, there was people whose eyes were looking in their head? I don't understand. Is that what you mean?
No, because when we got sort of binocular vision. Do you know Anne Frank?
That's all I know about Anne. There's no point pretending here.
Anne!
That I know stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, tell us everything you know about Anne Frank.
She was in a cupboard.
Yeah. What else?
If she didn't do that, I wouldn't know about her. Seriously. That's all I know about her.
Yeah.
So what did she do?
But how do you think we know about that? We know about her cupboard because of her book, don't we?
But hang on, what in the bigger scheme of things, why was she in a cupboard?
I don't know.
Right.
I honestly don't know.
You don't know anything else about Anne Frank beyond the fact that, to quote you, she was in a cupboard.
Well, what's she done then? You tell me. Why should I know more about her?
Firstly, I don't think she was in a cupboard.
She wasn't in a cupboard. She was in an attic.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was she doing?
She was hiding from the Nazis. She was hiding from the Nazis.
But isn't that the first place they'd look? Sort of work from the top down.
Carl, they weren't specifically looking for Anne Frank.
They weren't going, where is she?
Where's Frank?
If she gets that book out, we are in the deep shit. We've got to stop the book.
And then we went and had a look at the volcanoes and that. They've got 36 of them to look at.
How many did you look at before you realised that pretty much, you've seen one volcano, you've seen them all?
Probably about 6 or 7.
Really? And then when you got to the 8th, you thought, no, I know what this is going to be, Suzanne. This is going to be like a mountain with a hole in the top.
Yeah.
Really?
But it happened years ago as well. It's like, just keep a couple, fill the rest in, tidy it up.
Fill the rest in!
Yeah, no,
Well, getting some builders.
No, seriously though.
Okay, 4 million tons of concrete, please.
They're an absolute death trap.
Yeah, what do you mean fill them in? Do you know what a volcano is?
Just a hole, isn't it? That's happened.
Well, it's more than the hole. It's more a portal to the magma in the centre of the Earth.
Back in 1730 it happened, and they still haven't sorted it out.
Well, when you say it happened, volcanoes were made a lot longer ago than 1730.
No, but the one that did Lanzarote in.
Right.
Sort it out.
What do you suggest? How can they fill it in? It's joined. It's all joined.
No, but what I'm saying is,
the big plates of the Earth are all joined. All the magma's joined.
With the Trade Centre thing, that happened. They cleaned it up, sorted it out, they've moved on. That's what I'm saying. Whereas Lanzarote have just gone, leave it. It happened back in 1730.
You misunderstand me. How, in the name of God, can you fill in a volcano? You ignorant twit.
No, but it's not just the holes. They've actually left the lava everywhere. That's what I mean. It's not just the big holes. There's lava everywhere.
But it's molten rock. They can't just pick it up like they're like a carpet.
Put it in the holes. The holes are there ready. Just push it all in. That's what I'm saying. You know, like the monkeys peeling potatoes.
Right. That's never happened. They go and put nuts in the salt water to salt the nut.
Whatever.
How does that get to peeling potatoes? Because in your head, they were working in a canteen.
Making chips.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It doesn't matter what the food is. I'm just saying how they know how to sort of prepare
I
that
love
food.
the fact that you don't care what the fact is. When you're discussing facts, that's all that matters. Otherwise, on Mastermind, they just go, who wrote Much Ado About Nothing? Dickens? Yeah, close enough, whatever, someone did. The fact is what matters.
Yeah, but with that question, that's got a straightforward answer. What I'm telling you is the way that animals work. If it's a potato or a nut, it's a foodage.
And once again, I return you to my question as before. What's your point? What point were you making?
It's either a chimpanzee with a typewriter with an infinite amount of time. He would eventually, by definition, mathematically, type everything ever possible, okay? Or it's an infinite amount of chimps with typewriters, and one of them will type it first time.
But already that's sort of, that's not right. You either need to have
What do you mean? What? You mean employment laws? What do you mean it's not right?
Let's hear him out, please.
Okay.
If it's one monkey,
yeah,
with a typewriter that's got loads of ink in it and that, right? At least it knows what it's done in the past.
It's not.
Keep going.
Cry.
If you've got a load of monkeys, it's like if you have too many. What's that saying about too many chefs?
Too many chimps spoil the soup.
Right. Well, it's the same thing. It's like, well, I didn't tell you to put salt in it. I was going to put salt in it, and it messes it up. Whereas if it's just one, they know what's gone on. So what I'm saying is,
just leave him go. I can't be bothered.
I want to hear.
This blows my mind. He doesn't know what this does to me. It's a mathematical problem.
I want to hear the rest.
well, it's just I just don't think it will happen.
What do you mean you don't think it'll happen? Infinity works it out for you by definition.
But not Shakespeare.
Oh! Shut up! You idiot!
Rick, do you know what he said to me? I said to him, I explained it to him, I said, you've got an infinite number of monkeys, infinite number of typewriters, they will type the complete works of Shakespeare. He said, have they read Shakespeare?
You're an idiot! Play a record,
said, no,
I'm not having this
they're not
conversation.
doing it.
When are the exams? June?
Something like that, yeah.
We'll try and register next week, and I reckon you can get an A or B.
In history.
I'm
In history. No, don't worry about it, it's just easy. You get your Brody's notes. If Heat magazine, they love you, Carl. They could probably sort something out. They could probably pay for a tutor. They got a lot of money, they sell a lot of magazines.
I mean, it is always, almost always, and you found that out, I discovered this, it's always the Tudors and Stuarts. There's no fear for that, them not coming up. Now, what do you already know about them? You must already know stuff about Henry VIII and Elizabeth.
No, because it's too long ago to even get interested in. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Is that why you
relate
didn't?
to it.
Okay.
The Anderson thing, it was like, God, you know, I bet my mum and dad were in an Anderson shelter. You know, this is interesting.
What, when they...
Oh, my granddad would have, like, had something to do with this. But the Tudors, it's like, I don't know even if they had a family back then.
Play a record! Is that the answer?
Yeah, just cavemen in front of dinosaurs and that, they sort of went, oh... And then...
Well, it wasn't cavemen in front of dinosaurs, was it? Because cavemen weren't alive when dinosaurs were alive.
There was a couple knocking about.
Right, okay, fair enough.
There was a crossover point, surely.
Not dinosaurs like
15 million. Was the probably the Ice Age. There were still big reptiles.
I think it's fairly common knowledge that the dinosaurs did not exist.
Well, who gave the dinosaurs the name?
Well, no. Well, no.
Who gave the dinosaurs the names?
Hang on. Here's something I've learnt. Remember?
Go on.
Back to like show 4 or whatever.
Go on.
What is it?
4.
The flea can jump over the London Eye.
No, it can jump the equivalent of if it was a 6-foot man. It can jump about 6 inches high. A flea cannot jump over the London Eye.
Yes, it can. Yeah, it can.
And
tell your kids that.
Carl.
But remember.
Oh, a flea can jump over the London Eye. And an ant can lift 3 Volvos.